Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Audio Fanfics and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto returned to Konoha as an X-Man, and Ino, Rogue, Jean Grey, Hinata and Temari fell for him Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. 5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki was cornered. The mob had chased him and more people joined it as time passed. He made a turn and ended up in a dead end. His back was against the wall and he couldn't run anymore. Ready to pay for your sins, monster. A woman with pink hair snarled, holding a butcher knife. The gathered civilians had finally cornered the monster and there were no ninja of the village around this time to stop them. Please don't. Didn't do anything to you. Naruto pleaded. Liar. The pink-haired woman snarled. You killed my husband, demon. She slashed down and Naruto screamed in pain. Soon he was being kicked and punched along with being stabbed by numerous people, none of them showing him mercy. Kill the Kyuubi. Someone yelled from the back of the mob. Remy LeBeau walked the rooftops of Konoha. The world hidden beneath their own reminded the young mutant of ancient Japan in so many ways, but they had computers, and other things. The professor had asked him to check out a reading he'd gotten off Cerebro, and with the others off on missions or in the middle of school, the former acolyte was given the task. Remy, known to many as Gambit, shook his head at the thought of it being a year after the battle with Apocalypse and he was now an X-Man. But then his mind went to certain femme and he smirked. His rogue. Hearing yelling, he slipped across the rooftops and paused, seeing a large crowd of civilians in the alley. He was wondering what they were doing and heard their yells of, kill the demon. And the last one of, kill the Kyuubi. Gambit wasn't going to get involved in a demon hunt. He'd seen them before in some of his travels. But it was when the crowd pulled back, he swore in both French and English at seeing a 5-year-old boy lying on the ground, covered in blood. Anger rolled over him. He remembered his time in New Orleans when several people thought he was a demon due to his eyes. His mother later explained he was a mutant, but the pain he'd suffered, and now the blonde child was being attacked as well. Pulling out several cards with one hand and his telescoping quarterstaff with the other, he dropped into the alley, forcing several people back. Back off. The Cajun X-Man snarled. The cards in his hand, charged with explosive energy, were held behind him while he held his staff between him and the others in a defensive position with his left hand. He's a demon. One civilian said. He's a boy. Gambit said in flawless Japanese. He'd traveled the world quite a bit in his youth and he learned the languages. A good thief knew how to blend in after all, but right now Gambit was not blending in, he was pissed off. The we'll kill you as well, Gaijin. A civilian said, hoisting up a club. Before they could attack, Gambit launched his cards, only at the ground, and they exploded, knocking the people back. The explosion forced them back and it also brought several ninja, Chunin and Jonin, onto the scene. But the one that really backed the crowd up was the arrival of the Hokage and a squad of Anbu. Anbu, arrest the crowd. Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage, said. He turned and saw the stranger kneeling next to Naruto and was talking softly to him. Thank you, stranger, for saving Naruto. You the leader of this village? Gambit asked, cutting the older man off. I am the third Hokage. I'm taking the boy with me. Gambit said. The meter on his wrist was indicating that Forge's portal was about to pull him back. The boy was the one he'd been looking for if the pocket scanner was right. I'm afraid you can't do that. Sarutobi said. Gambit stood cradling the boy in his arms. What you're afraid of, Mon Ami, is not my concern. I tell you what. When do you allow graduates to become ninja in your village? Sarutobi thought about it and saw where the man was going. When they are 16 they get a genin exam from the academy. Then I will have him back in time for it. Sarutobi for some reason trusted this red-eyed man. He saw the way he put himself between Naruto and the crowd and was holding him now. A part of him wanted to deny this man anything and order the Chunin and Jonin to attack and get the boy back, but he knew it could result in the boy being hurt further or his death. It hurt the Hokage that he couldn't trust everyone in the village with the boy's safety, and those he did trust were busy with duties. Can you follow me to my office? I will give you scrolls and things he will need to learn before he can pass the academy. Gambit thought about it. He checked the meter on his wrist and saw he had an hour. Nodding his head, he followed the old man, the boy in his arms unconscious. Sarutobi as he led the Gaijin towards the tower sent a Chunin ahead to get his personal doctor and have the man meet them in his office. Once at the tower, Sarutobi waited while the Gaijin put Naruto on the couch and dug out numerous scrolls. He paused, looking at the forbidden scroll, then copied 2 techniques off it. His gut was telling him Naruto would be able to handle them. Now then, stranger. You can call me Gambit. Very well, Gambit-san. There is something you will need to know about Naruto. He holds the Kyuubi in him. Gambit said, cutting him off again. The Hokage had a shocked look. The fools were shouting it as they beat the boy. Remy said, giving the Hokage a look that told the older man what he thought about that. They will be dealt with, I promise you. Gambit waved it off and picked up the scrolls, slipping them into hidden pockets in his trench coat. I would prefer you not tell him. Gambit snorted. And let him not know why day out der tryin' ta kill, I am. Gambit said, his accent kicking in as was his anger. Non. Sides de professor will be helping him learn about his abilities. Gambit offered no more and watched as the doctor worked on the boy. Gambit saw wounds healing and thought of a certain grouchy Canadian back at the institute. I want you to understand, I tried to do the best for Naruto. Gambit looked at the old man. They have a saying. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Gambit looked at the boy and saw he was coming around. Ah, man, not again. Naruto. The Hokage said, stepping into the boy's field of vision. Hey OG-san. Had a slight accident. Naruto said and saw the scowl. I know what happened, Naruto. The boy sighed and lowered his eyes. He looked up again and saw the man he'd seen before he passed out. Hey, you got funny eyes. The 5-year-old said and Gambit laughed. Non, I prefer to think exotic. Gambit said. Naruto, listen to me. Gambit here is going to be taking you with him on a journey. The Hokage paused and tried to think on how to explain it to the 5-year-old. A trip? The boy asked. Yes, a training trip. Away from Konoha. The third said. He'll bring you back in time for the academy graduation exams. Naruto thought about it. Do you trust him, OG-san? Naruto asked. Sarutobi paused. He wanted to say no, but this Gambit had saved Naruto and was willing to look after him, and it would be out of the council's control. Yes. The Sandaime Hokage said finally. Naruto nodded and then looked at Gambit. Then I trust you, Gambit-san. The Cajun thief smiled. There was something about the blonde boy that made him think of himself when he was younger. I promise to protect you, Naruto. Gambit said solemnly, his red-on-black eyes staring into the blue eyes of the 5-year-old boy who he knew was going to change not only things here in his world, but he just had a feeling that Naruto was going to make a big impact at the institute. Just wait till the femmes see you. You might forget to walk. Gambit thought of all the females back at the institute who would hug this boy, and then a sliver of envy hit him before he shrugged it off. I have given Gambit here scrolls of things you will need to learn, along with some special jutsus I think you'll be able to handle. There are workouts for physical and chakra skills as well. Sarutobi was telling Naruto. The blonde was up and hugged the older man. I'll miss you, OG-san. You were the only one who cared. Sarutobi closed his eyes as he hugged the boy back. He cursed the idiots that couldn't see Naruto for what he really was, their savior. It was this reason he was giving him to this Gaijin. He knew deep in his old bones that the boy would be protected and well cared for. There was something about the man that the old Hokage just knew that if any harm befell Naruto under his eyes, there would be hell to pay. Gambit didn't need to be a telepath like the professor and Jean to know what the older man was thinking. He just nodded his head and smiled. I promise I'll come back, OG-san, and when I do you better be ready to hand over your hat, cause I will be Hokage. Naruto said with his fox-like grin. I look forward to that day, Naruto. Sarutobi said as he patted the boy on the head. You be good for Gambit. Become strong. And remember, no matter what I will be proud of you. I see you as my grandson. The third Hokage grunted as Naruto dived in and hugged him again. He smiled down at the blonde. Be well, Naruto. Stay safe. Become strong. And I hope to tell you about your father then. Sarutobi thought as he held on to the young boy who he wouldn't see again for 11 years. Gambit and Naruto left the village under the cover of night. The brown-haired thief leading Naruto away from the only home he'd known, their pace slow and steady, Gambit shortening his stride to allow Naruto to keep pace. Are you ready, Mon Ami? Gambit asked as they were in a clearing in the forest. Gambit-sama, you can call me Remy when we just are at the Institute Naruto. He said. Remy. Naruto said the word. We will be teaching English, and other languages as well. Naruto looked at him. Where are we going? The Xavier Institute for the Gifted. Remy said with a smile. The wristwatch beeped and a portal opened. Welcome to a whole new world, Naruto. The blue portal opened. A young man steps out. He's wearing black leather armor under a black trench coat. Long blonde hair is held back by a half mask and headband which sports a silver X symbol that matches the ones on the cuffs of his jacket, collar of the body armor and the buckle. He taps what looks like a wristwatch and the portal snaps shut behind him. Over his shoulder is a simple pack. Thank God for that scroll of sealing the old man sent along. I've sealed all I own into a few scrolls. The blonde smiled, the sun showing faded whisker marks on his cheeks. His blonde hair had red highlights. It was his eyes that had changed. They were slits of blue on black. He looked overhead and saw it was close to noon. Checking his bandolier that held several packs of cards, the seals inside replacing the cards used, the thigh holster that held his adamantium telescoping quarterstaff and the kunai holster and shuriken holster on his belt, he started off, his booted feet not making a sound as he leapt and landed on a tree branch. All those danger room sessions with Logan sure helped a lot. 16-year-old Naruto thought as he made his way towards Konoha, a village he hadn't seen, nor thought about in nearly 10 years. I should have stayed. Magneto's up to something. He thought, leaping from branch to branch, his leaps bypassing every other tree. He stopped as he saw the high walls of Konoha and checked himself over. He pulled his mask up and covered the lower part of his face. The mask was a gift from the New Mutants after their return from Japan, Tabitha swearing it was perfect for the ninja of the team. Naruto's gloves were like Gambit's, his adopted big brother's. They were black, and there were seals on the inside that would repair them. Naruto smiled, remembering all the time he spent with Logan and Dr. McCoy learning seals with them watching on. All his clothes had repairing seals. He'd put them on all the body armor back at the institute as well after he'd explained it all to the professor. Landing on the ground, he took the path to the gate. He could sense the guards, and was disappointed they hadn't noticed him yet. He was nearly right at the gate before they responded. Halt. Two Chunin appeared and stood blocking his path. State your name and purpose. The one on the left said. Naruto Uzumaki, returning from training journey. I'm to report to the Hokage upon my return. Naruto handed them his passport and the scroll the old man had made out and given to Remy all those years ago. The Chunin on the right read the scroll and nodded. Welcome back, Naruto, he said with a grin, and Naruto looked him over and tried to place him. Azumo, he asked, and the man laughed. Didn't think you'd remember me, you were only 5 at the time, the Chunin said. You and your friend saved me, Naruto said with a bow. For that I thank you both. Naruto had learned a lot at the institute, one of the things had been manners and etiquette. Kurt and I had the hardest time eating so slow with our metabolisms. Naruto remembered fondly the blue-furred teenager who, despite being older than him, had become a good friend, especially when he learned about the Kyuubi. It's been far too quiet without you around, Katetsu said, chiming in. Azumo laughed. Anbu and the Jonin have gotten soft, I think. Naruto smiled at the pair. He liked speaking with them when they were genin when he was here last. Well, I'll have to see what I can do, Naruto said with his usual fox grin that had many female students back at Babel High try to get his attention. Both Chunin chuckled as they handed him back his passport and the scroll. Again, welcome home, Naruto. Naruto waved to them as he passed the great gates and he looked upon Konoha for the first time in a decade. No place like home, he thought, seeing that nothing had changed in the time he'd been gone. With a determined look in his eyes, he headed for the tower. Time to report to the old man. Akira Sarutobi sighed as he looked at the stack of paperwork. He cursed Minato for dying and leaving him with this task. It was one of the things he thought he'd never have to do after he retired and passed it on to Minato. He looked at the fresh stack. Ah, Naruto, please come back and take this away from me. You're my only hope. He pulled out his pen and was going to start scanning when there was a ruckus outside his door with the secretary. He listened in. I'm sorry, you can't go in there without an appointment. Her voice was raised. And you don't understand, I have to report to OG-san upon my return. A voice said, a voice that had matured, but Sarutobi was delighted to hear. Has 11 years passed by already? He thought as he went and opened the door. He was shocked by the appearance of the blonde teen that was in the waiting room. Naruto was easily 5'9". The black outfit he wore was like a second skin. The mask covering half his face added an aura to him that the third Hokage never thought he'd see with the young blonde. Then the eyes focused on him and the old man froze. Those aren't the same eyes. He became worried for a moment, until, "Hey Oji-san. You're looking old." The secretary got affronted on how he addressed the Hokage. "Naruto, it is good to see you, my boy." He waved the secretary off. Come in, come in. You have much to report." He looked at the secretary. "Akiko, please hold all other meetings and paperwork." "Yes, Lord Hokage," she said. Her eyes were glaring at Naruto, and the blonde ignored her. Once the door was sealed, and the old Hokage was seated behind his desk, he studied the blonde before him. He left a boy, malnourished and abused, and he's returned confident and secure with himself. Naruto reached up and pulled the mask down around his neck. The third noticed the whisker marks were faded. Naruto smiled seeing his look. "I have a lot to tell you, Oji-san. First, it's good to see you." Naruto said. "You two are a sight for these old eyes. I am so happy to see you, my boy. Well, I guess I should say that I learned a lot about the world above. I went to school, and in the afternoons my training as a ninja and an X-man would take place." Naruto said, a hint of a warm grin on his face. "What's an X-man?" Sarutobi asked, interrupting Naruto. "A group of heroes who fight for a better tomorrow." Naruto said. He wasn't going to tell them about being mutants. "Many of them helped me learn and train. They helped me purge the Kyuubi and how to use its chakra as my own." Sarutobi started at that. "What do you mean purge the Kyuubi, Naruto?" he asked. "With the help of Professor Xavier and Jean Grey Summers, I was able to keep the Kyuubi suppressed and speed up the absorption of its chakra till it was no more. The seal faded out about a year ago. I still have the whisker marks. Not to mention your eyes," the Hokage said. Naruto laughed. Actually, that was a combination of a dormant bloodline and the last of the Kyuubi's chakra mutating it slightly. "Bloodline?" Sarutobi asked. "Yeah." Naruto scratched the back of his head, a gesture that warmed the older man's heart as he remembered a small child that did that when he would be thinking, or embarrassed. "It seems either mom or dad. Not sure who, as I don't know who they were, but one of them must have had a Kekkei Genkai. I call it the Atomgun." Naruto said with a shrug. "And what does it do?" Sarutobi asked. "Well, I can't be fooled by genjutsu, they just don't work on me. I can also see in the infrared spectrum, and have perfect eyesight, along with being able to see farther. It also allows me to see chakra." Naruto didn't mention that his mind was shielded thanks to the professor, nor did he mention a lot of the training he got or his abilities. He could see the old man was still in shock about the Kyuubi being gone and the revelation of a possible Kekkei Genkai. Sarutobi sat back and lit his pipe. He looked at the 16-year-old before him. "I'm surprised Gambit didn't come back with you," he said as Naruto finished his report. "He and the others had matters to attend to, and we didn't want long goodbyes." Naruto said finally. "I'll need to test your skills before I allow you to be placed in the current class," the Hokage said. Naruto nodded. "Tomorrow, I'll have some Jonin determine your skills. But for now." Naruto looked out the window and saw that the sun had set. "Whoa, didn't know we talked for so long." Sarutobi chuckled. He had enjoyed hearing of Naruto's life from the world above. School was actually fun. He remembered spending time with friends he'd made. And even the sessions with Logan were cool. Of course, the others at the school didn't agree, but Naruto shrugged and remembered Evan saying that Naruto was as bad as Scott, eager to use the danger room. "Well, we need to get you settled in." Naruto sighed. "I suppose my old apartment is open still." "No, that was torn down about 4 years ago." The old man rummaged around in a desk drawer and pulled out a couple of envelopes and a key on a ring. "I think you should move into your father's estate. It's fitting. You're going to tell me who they are?" Naruto asked. His whole body stilled. The aged Hokage looked at him and smiled. "I think you're old enough to know," he said. Naruto woke with the sun shining through the blinds. He rolled over with a groan and considered going back to sleep. "It's Saturday. Logan's out, and that means we get to sleep in." He thought before he remembered he wasn't at the institute and he sat up looking around the room. I'm in my father's home. He thought. When he'd seen the place, it made him think of the institute in its sheer size. The wall surrounding the property bordered on the Nara lands. The master bedroom that Naruto was in was double the size of his apartment when he was 5 from what he remembered. Sarutobi had shown him the place. The furniture and clothes were still there, and Naruto found the library was full of scrolls and books, his fingers twitching to read them. Looking at the clock, Naruto groaned. He had time enough to shower and get dressed. He decided to put his body armor on again. Well, Ojiazan is going to have me tested. Might as well think of it as a full session in the danger room with Logan manning the controls. He stood heading for the shower. His tattoos seeming to shine in the morning light, a tattoo of the Shinigami on his right arm holding flaming cards that showed a royal flush. On his left arm was a beautiful woman, her assets covered by her long hair, her hands holding a queen of hearts and an ace of spades, a blackjack. Lower on his bicep was a 9-tailed fox, a pair of dice in its mouth, the total equaling 7. Scratching his neck, he stretched, and he ran a hand over the bare stomach. He had considered putting a tattoo there, but changed his mind. He remembered Marie yelling at Remy after they had come back from Mexico. My 16th birthday present, Naruto thought with a grin. Remy, Logan, Evan, Kurt, Peter and Naruto had gone to Mexico. I swear they were going to kill them. Naruto thought of Marie, Storm, Mero, Wanda and Kitty and the looks on their faces when the velocity had returned after the weekend away. The shower felt wonderful and he toweled off and slipped on the body armor. He pulled on a pair of cargo pants over the armor and a light shirt before putting on his trench coat. He loved it, as it was a gift from Remy and Marie. He looked at the other possessions he owned. A painting from Peter of the X-Men, New Mutants, X-Factor and Naruto with the Professor, which he hung on the wall first thing after Sarutobi left. He looked at the plants and decided to see if there was an attic room like at the institute. I always liked Storm's garden. He remembered when he was still a little child how he could spend hours with the weather-controlling mutant, just watching her water her plants. He picked up the shades he'd gotten from Scott and slipped them on. Best to hide my eyes from the fools, he thought. He left his pack of thief tools on the nightstand. Not like I'll need those right now, besides I have a couple of picks just in case hidden on my body. He remembered when Remy had shown him the tricks of the trade when he was 10, taking him to Paris and London for a month. He looked at the statue of ice of the Kyuubi from Bobby. Naruto had placed a seal on it to prevent it from ever melting. His gaze landed on the photo album from Kitty. Kurt and Wanda had taken pictures of his time from when he arrived till the day he left. He would miss the three of them as much as he would Remy and Marie. He snapped his fingers and picked up the MP3 player Marie had given him. Music, a truly wonderful thing. It was packed with every song he and Marie had ever listened to. He thought of her fondly, and while he might call Remy his brother, he thought of the Cajun as his father, and Marie, the untouchable rogue, he thought of as his mother figure, well one. He smiled thinking Storm and Jean filled that role as well over the years. But Marie. Flashback. Wah. You got there, swamp rat. A southern accented voice asked after Gambit had introduced Naruto to many of the X-Men. Hey Cher. I brought a lil one here to learn. Naruto looked at the 18-year-old girl with the white streak in her hair looking at him. He could see that Gambit thought that she was special, and when she crouched down to look at him, he did something on impulse. He hugged her, his bare cheek resting against hers. He felt her stiffen and try to pull back, but he didn't let go. How? He heard her ask. Near as I can figure Cher, the Kyuubi that he contains made him immune. It would be weeks before he understood all that had happened that night, but he knew one thing, with that simple touch and hug, Rogue had become his strongest supporter and friend from that moment on. End flashback. Mama Rogue. He whispered, touching the MP3 player as he slipped on earpiece in and clipped the player inside his jacket. He looked at the remaining scrolls with the clothes Jean and the other women at the institute had bought him that he had yet to unpack, the communicator from the professor so he could remain in contact, the rollerblades from Evan, and another scroll with his mini lab set from Beast. Both chemistry and medical. Naruto remembered the time spent in the lab with Dr. Henry McCoy when he couldn't sleep. Beast not only taught him his way around the medbay and the lab, but around literature as well. Hamlet, Shakespeare, The Inferno. Naruto knew they were packed away as well. It was Beast who got him to buckle down and learn. You can be the strongest fighter Naruto, but without the intelligence to back it up, your strength of skills will mean nothing without the mind to use them. Naruto looked at the painting once more. He missed his family. If Remy hadn't promised me coming back, I would have stayed with you all, and I would have been happy. With a sigh, he tore his gaze away from the picture of a 16-year-old boy between a man with red eyes and a woman with a white streak of hair, both looking upon him with love and devotion as only parents could. He headed for the Hokage's tower, his mind already wondering what the old man would think of his skills. Do you understand? Sarutobi asked the gathered Jonin. You want us to test the brat? Asuma asked with a shrug. Kind of overkill, Pop, he said, lighting his cigarette and ignoring the glare from the kunoichi to his right. Weapons, ninjutsu, taijutsu and genjutsu. He looked at each of the gathered. For that reason I gathered you four here. Iruka here will help me watch, while Asuma fights him with his knives. Kakashi will see where Naruto is with his ninjutsu skills and taijutsu, and Kurenai for his genjutsu. Iruka, the chunin of the group, looked at the Hokage. He wasn't sure about this, but kept his thoughts to himself. Asuma puffed on the cigarette. Kind of overkill, as I said, Pop. Kakashi alone will be enough. Said Jonin was sitting off to the side reading his copy of Ika Ika and ignoring all that was going on. Sarutobi chuckled. And I say you're underestimating Naruto. He may have been gone all these years, but he has been trained. You haven't said by who? Kurenai said from her spot. An outsider who rescued him 11 years ago. So his style will most likely be something you haven't seen before. Sarutobi didn't tell them the scrolls he'd sent with Gambit for Naruto to learn from. He was actually looking forward to seeing what the boy had learned and to surprise his Jonin as well. A knock at the door and it opened to reveal the masked Naruto, red-tinted mirror sunglasses hiding his eyes and the mask hiding the rest of his face. Hey Ojiazan, ready whenever you are. Naruto said, walking in and stopping seeing the gathered nin. Oh, you're in a meeting, sorry. Your secretary wasn't here, so it thought it would be okay just to come in. He said, ready to step back. No, it's fine Naruto. They will be testing your skills to see where you are at. Sarutobi said, stopping the boy from leaving. Oh, okay. He gave a slight bow to the three Jonin and lone chunin. Naruto, allow me to introduce to you the Jonin who will most likely be one of the squad leaders. Sarutobi said, rising and pulling the blonde into the room. Kakashi Hatake, former member of Anbu. He gestured to the silver-haired man who looked up from his book and gave a slight nod. Yo. Before going back to reading his book. My son, Asuma. Hey Gaki. Pops has missed you over the years. Asuma said with a nod and continued to puff away on his cigarette. And the best genjutsu mistress in Konoha, Kurenai Yuhi. The woman nodded at him and seeing her eyes caused Naruto to pause and think of Remy once again, except her cornea were white instead of black. And Iruka Yumino, who is the academy instructor, will be helping me judge your skills from the sidelines. Naruto nodded to the scarred chunin. Pleasure to meet you all. He looked at the Hokage. Whenever old man. Iruka looked like he wanted to yell about how he was addressing the Hokage, but the old man himself laughed. Asuma smiled, seeing his father happy once more. He's only like this around Konohamaru. The smoking Jonin thought. He regretted leaving his sister and father a decade ago to be a guardian at the Fire Lord's court, but he was back now. While there are issues between us, we are getting better with each day. Asuma thought, following his father and the blonde, the others in step with them. We'll go to training ground 7. Sarutobi said. Asuma watched as the blonde walked next to his dad and felt a twinge of regret and envy at how easily the blonde came back into his father's life. He and the old man are like Pop and I used to be before I left. Naruto, what is that strapped to your thigh? Kurenai asked as they walked. My quarterstaff. Remy Tucson had it made for me out of adamantium. The blonde said, pulling the short weapon out, and with a flick it extended to its full length. So you know Bojutsu? Sarutobi asked. Yeah, also knife fighting, 12 styles of taijutsu and everything from the scrolls you sent along. Everything? Sarutobi asked in surprise. He wanted to question Naruto about why he called someone father, but decided to put it off till later. Yep. Logan was very thorough and had me practice everything till I could perform it in my sleep. Naruto slipped the staff away again and scratched the back of his neck at the old man's look. Maybe I should tell Ojiazan about the danger room. Nah, that would give him nightmares. Logan. Sarutobi asked. He lived at the institute with Remy Auto along with others. He was sort of the head teacher, only answering to the professor. Sarutobi knew he wanted more information, but thought it best to let Naruto tell him in his own way, even if it was frustrating at times. So, the place Gambit took you to was a school? Sarutobi asked. Yeah, well, more home, but Storm and Logan made sure we all studied and learned. Logan was a taskmaster, but he taught me a lot, and teamwork was very important. Kakashi looked up at that. He studied the blonde again and wondered why someone would care about the demon container. With a shrug, he went back to reading. So, there were a lot of people there, students your own age? Sarutobi asked. Naruto surprised him by laughing. Oh no, Ojiazan. I was the youngest one there. Well, until Kurt and Wanda got married and had little Talia. Naruto smiled at the thought of the little blue-furred girl. Most the students were anywhere from the low 30s like Scott and Jean, to the youngest when I got there was Jamie who just turned 10. An unusual school, Uruka said, adding his 2 cents. Hi. But it was home as well. You became part of the family and worked and trained together. Naruto said, a fond smile on his face. Marie Kosen nearly convinced me to stay. Naruto said. But Remy Tucson had promised Ojiazan here that I would return, and all those at the institute are very big on keeping their words. I almost said X-Men. I need to be careful. Naruto thought. You keep mentioning Remy. Who is that? It was Gambit who gave me his word. Sarutobi said. Hi. Gambit is Remy Tucson's codename. But at home he's Remy. Naruto said. Sort of like Anbu in a way. When he's out in the field he's Gambit. Naruto explained. Sarutobi nodded at this. You call him father. Sarutobi broached the subject as they passed the village streets and were making their way towards the training grounds. Naruto gave him a huge fox-like grin. He and Marie Kosen adopted me. He looked at the old man. They loved me regardless of holding the Kyuubi for so long. The Jonin were shocked the blonde knew of the Kyuubi. And Kosen was there when it disappeared. I was in a coma for 6 days. Naruto said to the old man. Scared the hell out of her and Tucson. Sarutobi looked at the boy next to him. He put a hand on Naruto's jacket-covered shoulder. I am so sorry you had to go through all of that, Naruto. Your father. I understand, Ojiazan. I thank you for telling me about them, but Remy and Marie raised me, loved me, comforted me when the nightmares came. I will be the son of Minato and Kushina, but I am also the son of Remy and Marie. I am blessed that I had 2 sets of parents. Kakashi at the back growled. So the brat knows Minato-sensei was his father. No matter. I'll kill him and avenge you, sensei. The Kyuubi mocked you, making the boy look like you. I'll kill the demon and avenge you, sensei. Kakashi muttered low under his breath. Kakashi's mentality was not unnoticed, and Kurenai narrowed her eyes as she saw the look of hatred the masked nin shot the boy's back, and heard his muttered threat. She stepped ahead a few more steps, and using her body to shield her hand motions, she used sign language with Asuma to warn him of the danger. Asuma for his part coughed and blinked before running a hand over his beard and then flicking his cigarette aside stepped up next to his father. Sarutobi glanced to the side without turning his head and saw Asuma using the hand language. Danger. Kakashi. Kill. Naruto. Sarutobi sighed. His son had gone too long without practice, and was like a stuttering child mangling every other word. What surprised Sarutobi was Naruto's hands were in motion. Thank you, Asuma-sensei. I'll be careful around him now. Seeing the old man's shocked look, he laughed aloud. Tusan's family use sign language all the time. He taught it to me when I was younger. It also helped my hand dexterity. Naruto signed, and Sarutobi was prouder still of Naruto. His own hands began to sign. If it looks like he will try and kill you, Naruto, I will step in. Naruto smiled. Thanks, Ojiazan. He said low so only the aged Hokage and Asuma right next to them could hear. Training ground number 7. What would you like to start with, Naruto? The Hokage asked. The blonde paused and looked the 3 Jonin. Taijutsu and ninjutsu. Kakashi smiled behind his mask. I'll get to kill the demon. First shot is mine. Kakashi thought, and he in his mind believed Kurenai and Asuma wanted to do the same thing. Who knew being on Anbu after losing all your precious people would unhinge you? Very well, Sarutobi said. He looked at Kakashi. Nothing above C rank in ninjutsu Kakashi, he hasn't even taken the genin exam. Hi, Kakashi thought. Old fool. I'll kill him with my bare hands. Ready, Iruka said, acting as referee. Naruto took up a lazy stance. Kakashi thought it was slopping and took up the stance he'd copied from the Uchihas. Go. Kakashi was gone in a blur. Too easy, he thought. His fist only caught air and he looked and saw Naruto was behind him. A finger flick sent him head over heels onto the ground. Oops. Sorry Ojiazan. I learned how to use the Kyuubi's chakra to make short-range teleports. That and I got the idea watching Kurt port all over the danger room. Scared the hell out of myself and Tucson the first time I did it, to the point he had Logan shut down the danger room until we learned how it happened. Naruto didn't mention that he had also learned how to add power to his attacks, something only Tsunade of the Sannin had done. If Logan wouldn't have pushed me so much, I would never have figured anything out. Kakashi for his part was laying on the ground. The back of his head felt like he'd been beaten by a boulder. He leapt to his feet with a growl and then calmed himself. Ease up, or the Hokage will end it before I get my chance. Is that what that puff of red and black smoke was? The Hokage asked. Yeah. First time was accident. Scared the crap out of myself, Logan and Tucson. Not to mention the rest of the New Mutants and X-Men at the time. Okay. Continue. Naruto saw the eye of the Jonin. He kept his stance loose and avoided several attacks, and when he did take a hit he would spin and counter-attack. The blows from Kakashi were coming faster, but Naruto, who had sparred with the Wolverine, was up to the task and he kicked Kakashi back. Die demon! Kakashi yelled at the end of his patience as he charged up his only original technique, the Chidori. Naruto narrowed his eyes and pulled out several cards. I don't think so, hombre. Have a card. Channeling some of the red chakra into it, they glowed and he threw them at the oncoming Jonin. Kakashi went to swat them aside, his hand hitting the first one and it exploded. Sarutobi was watching the spar and saw how Kakashi was getting more and more lethal strikes, but Naruto blocked or avoided them. When he kicked Kakashi back, he tensed as the Jonin yelled, Die demon! And formed his Chidori. Asuma. He yelled and was already moving himself, but the spar had taken the pair further away and they wouldn't get there in time. Sarutobi cursed getting old, but then he saw Naruto pull out what looked like playing cards and they seemed to glow with red before he threw them. Kakashi used his free hand to swat them aside and they exploded, shocking Sarutobi a moment before he rushed to Naruto's side. Are you okay, my boy? He asked. I'm fine, Ojiazan. You might want to check on Kakashi. I think I overcharged the card. I was kind of mad. Asuma was by Kakashi, or what was left of the Jonin. Sweet Kami's panties. Asuma knelt and picked up the charred remains of a playing card. If the Gaki can do this with a playing card, he shuddered to think what else the kid had learned. Anbu were appearing on the scene. It's okay. Training accident. Inform the coroner to come and collect the remains of Kakashi Hatake. I want Ibiki to check out Kakashi's apartment, he seemed overly stressed. The Hokage said, putting a hand on Naruto's shoulder. The Anbu nodded and vanished. Asuma. Yeah, Pop. The smoking Jonin was at the Hokage's side. What do you think? Training accident like you said. Kakashi provoked an academy student, who in a moment of emotional stress sent out an attack. Kakashi in his usual arrogance didn't think it a threat and swatted it aside. Asuma looked at the remains of the Jonin. I'm sorry, Ojiazan. Naruto said. I usually can put enough energy into it just to stun, but... You were angry and felt a moment of fear. Sarutobi asked. No. No fear. Just angry. Very, very angry. When he called me demon, I remembered that night Tucson saved me. Naruto looked down and the Hokage with his hand on his shoulder gave it a squeeze. We knew he was planning to kill you, Naruto. What you did in self-defense. It's not right, Ojiazan. I learned for years how to disable without killing. The professor was very adamant on killing being the last resort. The older man smiled at the blonde. I might like to meet this professor. The irony of another man with the same title he got when he was younger warming the Hokage's heart, that someone was wise enough to teach Naruto about death, and the difference on mercy and killing in cold blood. Naruto gave him a smile. He's cool, Ojiazan. Most those at the institute see him as father or grandfather. He's as smart as you. Sarutobi chuckled. And about as old. That got the Hokage to stop laughing, but Asuma laughed outright. Off to the side, Kurenai and Iruka were dealing with other Jonin and Chunin that showed up to see what the explosion was. You did nothing wrong here, Naruto, Sarutobi said, reassuring the blonde. Now, care to explain that attack you performed? Naruto nodded and pulled a card from his bandolier. Well, the Kyuubi's chakra is like a second chakra source. I mean, my own is nearly limitless with all the exercises Logan had me doing over the years, but the Kyuubi's is separate. He pushed a bit into the card and once more the Hokage saw a faint red hue envelope the card. With the Kyuubi's chakra I unlocked several abilities. The short-range porter, as a friend calls it, bamfing, due to the sound it makes. Naruto said. I can also charge objects up to explosive properties. Tusen showed me as he has a similar ability. Naruto tossed the card aside and it hit a nearby tree, barely leaving a scorch mark. As you can see, I can control the intensity. What I hit Hitaki with wasn't even a fraction of what I can do. Tusen had me push and I was able to explode a whole building as big as the Hokage Tower. Sarutobi's eyes widened at the thought of a pissed-off Naruto loose on Konoha. I also have a healing factor thanks to the Kyuubi and the villagers trying to kill me. I heal quicker than ever. Naruto demonstrated, pulling a black kunai and slicing his hand. Sarutobi was about to protest, but he watched the wound slip close and the skin was blemish-free. The furball also gave me freakishly high stamina and enhanced my senses. Naruto said. He pulled off the shades. The Atomgun eyes looking at the Hokage. And he messed up my Kekkei Genkei. It's always on, permanent. That's why I said Genjutsu won't work on me. He looked where Kurenai and Iruka were doing crowd control with Asuma joining them. They'll never accept me now, he said softly, yet the Hokage heard him and pulled the blonde into a hug. Don't judge them all, Naruto-kun. I see you as a grandson. Asuma and Kurenai see you as Naruto. I will be informing the council today of the Kyuubi no longer being a concern. Naruto nodded. He didn't care about the council. The only one in Konoha whose opinion mattered to Naruto was the old man. After they clear the crowd, we'll continue, Sarutobi said, and Naruto groaned, hoping the old man would just allow him to pass after the accident, but no luck. Naruto sighed as he entered the empty classroom. He had been too anxious, and despite his morning workout that Logan had drilled into him from his first days at the institute, he was still early. He pulled out a deck of cards and shuffled them, deciding to play some solitaire. Tusen named me Solitaire as my codename, and I liked it. Naruto was halfway into a third game when Iruka showed up. Good morning, Yumino-san, Naruto said and watched as the Chunin jumped and spun about looking at him. Oh, good morning, Naruto. He's scared, Naruto realized. Sorry if I startled you, I got here early, Naruto explained as he picked up and shuffled his cards. Iruka looked at the shade-covered eyes. He'd seen this young man take the measure of 3 Jonin and killed one of them. Lord Hokage says he no longer contains the fox, Iruka thought, and he remembered the council meeting as he was acting as the Hokage's secretary. The disbelief and the shouts, it must be a trick on the fox's part. Hiashi Hyuga using his Byakugan on the boy and reporting that the chakra was there, but the seal was totally gone. Shaking his head, he looked at his blonde student. Are you ready for the exam, Naruto? He asked. Hi. Thank you for giving me a general idea on what's to be expected, Yumino-san. You can call me Iruka, and in class you can call me Iruka-sensei, Iruka said. He had spent most of Sunday thinking about the blonde. He admitted he, like many, prejudged the boy, and now he was finding his original thoughts were false. This whole village was blinded by hatred, and this boy suffered. He'd watched Naruto with his quarterstaff fight Asuma off and was impressed with the younger man's accuracy with kunai and shuriken. His test with Kurenai was not what he expected, and the Genjutsu mistress was shocked when Naruto said they didn't work on him due to his Kekkei Genkei being on all the time and finding her no matter what she tried. Iruka remembered the blue on black eyes with the slit. He calls it the Atomgun. But I wonder how many will think it's the influence of the Kyuubi. Iruka thought, then shook his head. He already said the fox mutated it and made it permanent. He studied Naruto, who had gone back to his game. Those cards don't look like much, but in Naruto's hands each card can be as explosive as hundreds of tags. He had been there in the afternoon on Saturday as the Hokage talked to Naruto about his parents, his birth parents, and then about his adopted parents. Remy and Marie Lebeau. Outsiders see him as a wonderful young man and accepted him as he was. His birth village tried to kill him and despised him for matters outside his control since his birth. Iruka had vowed he would get to know Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Lebeau. The first bell of the morning sounded and Iruka could hear the student entering the building. Several entered his room and took their seats, none of them noticing the blonde at the back of the room. It was then that he realized that Naruto was sitting in someone's seat. And then he realized whose. He groaned. She's going to be loud, he thought, but decided not to say anything and see how events unfolded. Most of the class was here. Sasuke at his seat in the front row by the window, Sakura's seat empty still. He went through the mental checklist and sighed, as the warning bell sounded. Ino and Sakura. This is not going to be pretty. Iruka noticed that Shikamaru had noticed the new student in the classroom, but hadn't said anything. Probably cause it would be too troublesome. Iruka smiled at how well he knew several students. He saw Shino in his corner in the back row on the opposite side had noticed Naruto as well. Well, they aren't all lacking skills. He saw Kiba was too engrossed in talk with Hinata, and Akamaru was asleep on his owner's head. Choji is next to Shikamaru, but he's eating his chips. Iruka noted several other students and shook his head. A noise drew his and most the students' attention to the door where Sakura and Ino tried to wedge through at the same time as the final bell sounded. Yes, Sakura yelled as she shoved in. I win. Think again, forehead. I was here first, but you used your giant forehead to push yourself in. Ino snarked. Girls. Iruka said. What was that, Ino pig? Sakura snarled, spinning about, her eyes holding a hint of danger. You don't understand. Guess your forehead is in the way of your ears. Ino shot back. Ino. Sakura. Iruka tried. Yeah, well, at least I don't need trough at meal times, piggy. Sakura shot back. Iruka winced seeing the fire in Ino's eyes now. Oh, this is not going to end well. Iruka thought. Oh, that is it, billboard brow. Ino roared. Got to end this now. Iruka thought, but before he could say anything he heard laughing and looked up to see Naruto clapping as well. Oh, this is priceless, non. Iruka thought the blonde had gone crazy. All the femmes need now is a pit of jello and we could make a fortune. Heads turned to see Naruto. Iruka had to admit, it had diffused Ino and Sakura's anger at one another. But now they're focused on him. Iruka thought as both girls saw him. Who the hell are you? Sakura demanded. And what are you doing in my seat? Ino followed up, realizing where the masked boy was sitting. Your seat, share. Apologize. I arrived to class early, unaware there was a seating chart. Who the hell are you? Sakura said, stomping towards the back of the room. Her hand reached out to grab Naruto, but found him not there. Well, hello, pretty. Sakura turned and saw him standing by Ino and taking her hand, and giving her knuckles a soft kiss without taking his mask off. A true beauty hidden amongst the leaves, he said, and Ino found herself blushing. Most of the class was shocked at how fast the masked blonde had moved. Iruka, who had seen him do it before, was still in shock at the speed Naruto seemed to possess. Deciding to use the class's surprised silence to gain control, the Chunin called for everyone to take their seats. Sakura took her seat, her head turning to watch as the masked student led Ino to her seat and after pulling her seat out and getting her to sit down took the next seat over. Some of the male students were studying him. Sasuke just snorted and went to look out the window once more, deciding that the new student wasn't worth his attention as he was pandering to useless Kunoichi. All right, settle down, Iruka said and waited a moment before continuing. He saw his assistant Mizuki enter the door and slide it shut silently. Today is the day you all take your genin exams. Naruto sighed at the back of the room to himself. He'd prevent the girls from fighting, but he brought attention to himself. He could feel the blonde next to him eyeing him, and the pink-haired girl kept glancing over her shoulder and glaring at him. Something about her has my danger senses tingling. Naruto had a built-in danger sense. He thought it wasn't a power, but the amount of times it's saved him from being hit, along with the rest of the X-Men and New Mutants, even in the danger room, he never ignored it after the one time that he had put him in the medbay for a day. Of course, Logan spent the same day being chewed out by Marie, Jean and Storm. Naruto thought. He also looked like he had a run-in with the rest of the family, come to think of it. Mentally shaking himself, he tried to pay attention. He always found lectures boring. He did fine on tests and practical applications, but lectures put him to sleep or cause him to zone out. Good thing I still have my true gift as backup. Naruto thought as he remembered the paces that the Hokage and the Jonin put him through on Saturday. Keep that well hidden. No need to show them what I can do without chakra. Naruto accepted the test that the other instructor passed out, handing one to Ino, who blushed at him, and he gave her a smile through his mask. He felt other eyes on him and noticed that the girl with white eyes was looking over at him and would blush before facing her test once more. He also saw some of the guys looking at him and measuring him. Show them nothing. I'll show some to whomever is on my team, but those that aren't get nothing. Naruto thought. Seeing some of the other females in the class eyeing him like a side of beef, he sighed mentally. Man, Tucson was right. Maybe I should go without the mask. He's right, in girls like the mysterious stranger thing. Looking at the test, he began answering questions. Name the first Hokage. Sigh, this is boring. I read this when I was 5. Naruto thought as he went down the page answering the questions. He noted they got a bit better as they went on. Question 26. Explain how the Yondaime killed the Hokage and Sonovabrod. Naruto put his pen down and raised his hand. Yes, Naruto. Iruka asked. Iruka-sensei. I can't answer question 26, as it is wrong in what it is asking. Naruto said. The whole class looked at him and many of them flipped the test to that question and he saw them reading it. What do you mean, Dobi? Sasuke asked from the front row. Everyone knows that the 4th Hokage killed the Kyuubi. The Uchiha heir said with disdain. Iruka winced. How the hell can I answer this? The Sandaime has yet to speak of it to the whole of Konoha. Naruto laughed. I see. He stood up and walked to the front of the class. Allow me to educate for a moment, Iruka-sensei. Iruka's eyes widened. Naruto's going to tell them, oh sweet Kami. He shot a look at Mizuki, who was looking on with a questioning look on his face. Very well, Naruto, as only you, our Lord Hokage, may speak of it until he releases the penalty. Iruka said, swallowing, his throat becoming really dry. Naruto nodded and reached up, pulling his mask down and his shade up into his hair. Gasps from the students, and Iruka noticed several of the kunoichi get lust-filled eyes as they took in his features. Clearing his throat, Naruto stood with his arms crossed behind his back and a relaxed stance. Now, as many of you know, 16 years ago, the Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked Konoha. Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, and many valiant ninja of the Leaf tried to hold back the nine-tailed fox, but their efforts were in vain. Naruto smiled. In a moment of desperation, the Yondaime used a forbidden jutsu, a pact with the Shinigami, to seal away the Kyuubi in exchange for his own life. Many of the students were listening intently. Iruka saw Mizuki's eyes narrow as Naruto spoke, and he saw Mizuki finally notice the whisker marks on Naruto's now exposed face. But the Yondaime knew he couldn't seal the Kyuubi into an adult, for the jutsu required chakra pathways that would grow over time as the seal would purify the Kyuubi's chakra. Thus, with a heavy heart, the Yondaime Hokage sealed the greatest of the demon lords inside his newborn son not less than an hour after the loss of his wife in childbirth. Gasps from many students as they realized the implications. Some like Kiba blinked. Iruka noted Sasuke was scowling, his eyes narrowing as they rested on Naruto, then looked out the window towards the Hokage monument, then back to Naruto, hatred now in his eyes. But the tale does not end there. For the young Namikaze, orphaned and alone, would for the next 5 years be hated and abused by the village his father gave his life for. Naruto's blue-on-black eyes hardened. The one day an outsider came, he saw villagers abusing a child. He rescued the Yondaime's heir and after negotiating with the Sandaime Hokage took the boy to the world above. There the Yondaime's heir learned his history and how to control the Kyuubi's chakra. Then, one day, the Kyuubi, after a decade of fighting, gave up and was absorbed into the seal, and on that day, the Namikaze heir learned more and the seal shattered. He was free from the curse his own father placed on him. His gaze swept over the class. The Kyuubi died in the seal, never to be released. It welcomed its passing, as captivity had robbed it of all it had. And how do you know this, Dobi? Sasuke sneered. Naruto smiled. 'Cause I was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. I was the living sacrifice my birth father used to save a village that after 5 years of being abused by, I thought didn't deserve to be saved. Naruto dodged to the left as Mizuki attacked before he finished speaking. I'll kill the demon now and be well rewarded. Mizuki, stop. Iruka yelled and tried to restrain his fellow Chunin, but was kicked to the side. He crashed into the desks, and students screamed. Naruto back-flipped out of the way as he looked at the Chunin. Mizuki Tem, I ask you to stand down. I already killed a Jonin for trying to kill me. I ask that you do not force my hand and add your name to the list. Yeah, right. I doubt you could kill a Jonin. Mizuki spat, pulling out a pair of kunai. Yet, you claim I am the damned fox and are trying to kill me for its sins. Naruto countered as he spun away and the kunai buried themselves into the wall behind where he'd been. You are the fox. Look at the truth. Your eyes, those whisker marks. Mizuki snarled, pulling out several shuriken and readying himself to attack. Iruka was there attacking, trying to maneuver Mizuki out of the room and keep the children and Naruto safe. Naruto was about to relax his stance when he sensed danger yet again and dodged to the side, his atomgun turning to see Sasuke Uchiha trying to attack him. Fight me. The Uchiha snarled. Fight me, so I can beat him. Naruto shook his head and used a simple, wax on, wax off, blocking technique he picked up watching movies on Saturday nights at the institute. Hey, the Karate Kid was Hollywood fluff, but it did have some ideas. Naruto thought as he continued to block the Uchiha's attack. With a light palm strike he sent Sasuke staggering back. He looked to see Iruka had managed to force Mizuki into the hall. Where the hell are the other teachers? Don't they hear this ruckus? Naruto thought. He turned in time to see Sasuke finishing several hand seals. A fire jutsu. Indoors. He's insane. Naruto thought, and his hands were a blur as he called out his attack the same time Sasuke sent out his own attack. Fire style. Dragon flame jutsu. Sasuke roared. Shit. No choice. Water release. Gunshot. He spat the wad of water and felt his chest clench as he'd taken no time to convert the moisture in the air for it. The two attacks slammed together and the explosion knocked Sasuke head over heels and he was upside down in the second row, a fangirl squealing in joy as her face was in his crotch. Stupid idiot. Naruto roared as he kicked a charred chair out of his path and stalked towards the dazed Uchiha. Using an assault jutsu in the confines of a classroom. Then Naruto did something would endear him to the males of the class and resentment of many of the Uchiha fan club. He grabbed Sasuke by his ear, dragged him to his feet, bent him over his knee and gave Sasuke Uchiha his first ever spanking in his 16 years of life. Sarutobi and the gathered Jonin laughed as the blonde gave the Uchiha what many of them had wanted to do since he entered the academy. Have Anbu pick up Mizuki. He said to his new secretary who nodded. Well, I already know Naruto is going to be Genin, the question is, who wants him on their team? Sarutobi sighed as several hands went up. Kurenai and Osamu's amongst them. Sir, what of the Uchiha? With Kakashi's death, who will teach him? A Jonin asked from the back. Sarutobi thought about it. We'll see how the others do, and decide about the teams later. The Hokage and Jonin went back to watching as Naruto dropped the Uchiha on the ground and stood up. Anyone else want to act like a spoiled brat? Naruto asked, his gaze moving around the room. He noted that while many of the girls were glaring at him, that pink-haired one really wants to say something, but she's too cowed right now. He heard laughter and saw the blonde he'd been seated by laughing and clapping. Ino, share, I think I like you. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Labo sighed looking at the gathered genin who were looking at him in shock at what he'd just done to the Uchiha prodigy. An explosion from the hallway forced Naruto to forget the students as he remembered the threat of Mizuki. Iruka Yumino, please be safe. He thought. While he hadn't known the man long, Naruto liked him. He reminded the former Jinchuriki of Scott in some way as to how he was serious and perfectionist in his job. Naruto reached the hall and saw Mizuki standing over Iruka, a large windmill shuriken in Iruka's back. Drawing several cards, he charged them, tossing them at Mizuki. They were lightly charged so they mostly just knocked him back when they exploded. Demon! Mizuki yelled. Where the hell are the other teachers? Naruto thought as they fought down the corridor. Naruto was trying to keep the damage to a minimum and with a sigh he avoided the shuriken the silver-haired Chunin tossed at him. What is it with the silver-haired people here in Konoha trying to kill me? Naruto wondered as he had enough and with a BAMF teleported behind Mizuki, grabbed him and with another teleport took them out of the school as many of the doors finally opened. They saw Iruka laying on the ground and went to help him. Asuma, Guy, Kurenai, Anko, take a group of Anbu and apprehend Mizuki, before Naruto is forced to eliminate him. I want answers. The 4 Jonin disappeared. Gopher, Zazu, go to the academy, keep the students there until I arrive. Cat, Sparrow and Cheetah, I want you to find out from the academy staff why they did nothing until the battle was out of the building. The Hokage sighed. Naruto, be careful my boy. Something isn't right. The old man thought, lighting his pipe. Die demon. Mizuki yelled after Naruto shoved him away after they reappeared. Mizuki was disoriented first, but recovered quickly. Naruto avoided the kunai slashes and looked at the Chunin. You are just an ignorant man, Mizuki. I am not the Kyuubi. I was its container. It's passed on. I am as I have always been, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Labo. Naruto said, and having enough pulled out his quarterstaff and after smacking Mizuki between the eyes with it in short form, he extended it and after a simple spin took up a ready stance with the staff cradled in his right arm and body, his left arm extended and making a bring it on gesture. Bring it, Mizuki did. Naruto used the quarterstaff to block the kunai and attacks. He's more skilled than Chunin, maybe Jonin if Hitaki and the others were to be judged by a couple days ago. Naruto thought. His long sessions in the danger room with Logan and his father were keeping Naruto safe. And what I miss, the wonderful body armor Forge designed works even better. Naruto thought of the strange inventor that kept popping up at the mansion to visit Kurt. Why won't you die? Mizuki snarled as he kept slashing. The sound of several shushins alerted the pair they were no longer alone. Mizuki spared them a glance and smiled, thinking he had the upper hand. Quick. The demon took possession of the boy and attacked the class. He wounded Iruka. Naruto back-flipped away and drew several cards, holding them between his fingers as he eyes the Jonin. Asuma, Kurenai, he said, bowing his head. Guy and Anko looked at the boy who their friends had talked about Saturday night at the bar as they told them what had happened to Kakashi. Naruto, are you okay? Kurenai asked. I'm fine. Iruka's banged up. Not sure what else. I got Mizuki out of there before he did more damage. Naruto reported. Mizuki, seeing the 4 Jonin not attacking the boy, snarled. Didn't you hear me? The demon is in control. Give it up, shit stain. Anko spoke up, pulling her eyes off the fascinating blue on black eyes. We saw it all in the Hokage's office. From the moment the class started through the test and Naruto's speech to his classmates. Asuma continued. Most unyouthful you are, Mizuki. Guy said. You're all traitors. Mizuki yelled as he turned to attack, but Kurenai finished her jutsu. Mizuki found himself trapped in a genjutsu, Kurenai's tree bind. Guy moved fast and struck the Chunin before he could try and dispel it and struck him in the neck, knocking him out. Naruto put his staff and cards away with a sigh. Thank you. I didn't want to fight him, not with Kakashi's death so fresh. The others assured him it was fine. Anko and Guy left with Mizuki while the Jonin pair of Kurenai and Asuma stayed. Are you really okay, Naruto? The pair had come to like the young man during their sparring on Saturday and didn't want him to come to harm. Yeah, I'm good, he said, pulling his shirt up to reveal his armor. Forge made these for everyone at the institute. It absorbs a lot of damage, and has been known to stop gunshots. Both Jonin had heard of the strange rifles developed in the north. Thankfully, the inventors of the black powder were very secretive and cut their village off from the rest of the elemental nations. In the world above, guns are used by many. The armor can also take stabbing and slicing blows to an extent. Lowering his shirt, Naruto sighed. I guess I should see who will accept me back at the academy after my tale. Didn't get to see it after Mizuki's attack, or, Naruto paused, not wanting to tell the pair he had spanked the Uchiha, but Asuma laughed. Kid, I would give you a medal for handling the prodigy of the Uchiha. His ego's bigger than the entire land of fire. Kurenai smiled as well, assuring Naruto he did the right thing. We'd come with you, but you need to take the test still. Ah, man. Couldn't fighting off an insane Chunin be considered an automatic passing grade? Naruto mock whined and the pair laughed. You'd have my vote on that, Naruto. You handled yourself very well here and in the classroom. Thank you, Asuma. They both watched as he vanished with a BAMF in a red cloud and they sighed. Now we just need to decide who's going to get him. Kurenai laughed. Why? I am, of course. And why is that? Asuma asked, pulling out a pack of cigarettes and lighting one, inhaling the nicotine into his lungs. Because I won't allow you slackers and perverts to alter a fine upstanding young man. Kurenai said, scowling at the cigarette. And put that out, it stinks. She vanished with a leaf teleport. Asuma sighed and took another drag. After seeing him Saturday, and today, I think I might actually put in an effort to get the boy. Asuma had been told that the tests were a formality, and his father wanted him teaching the Ino Shika Cho trio, but that kid's got a ton of talent. Asuma muttered his thoughts aloud and dropping the cigarette he stomped it out and vanished as well. Naruto reappeared outside the classroom and entered to see the Hokage and a pair of Anbu teaching the class. Hey old man, Naruto said. Sorry I'm late, but it's okay Naruto. I was just talking with the class about the history of the Kyuubi and how you are a hero of the leaf. Naruto nodded and saw Sasuke glaring at him. I was also voiding that question on the test, so if you would return to your seat, you can finish the written test. Naruto nodded and walked up the steps. He stopped at the row he'd been in and looked at Ino. Is it all right if I sit here again, Cher? He asked softly. Ino smiled. Take a load off Whiskers. The blonde Yamanaka heir said with a smile. I knew I'd like you Ino-chan. Naruto thought as he sat and saw his test was there. He looked up and saw several other students watching him. The one with shades and his collar pulled up covering his lower face gave him a bow, which Naruto returned. He saw a girl with white eyes looking at him and blushing, while next to her the boy with the dog gave him a look of grudging respect. He saw the boy with the pineapple-like hairstyle was awake and looking at him, and next to him the boy with the bag of chips was munching away. He noticed the Uchiha still glaring at him and the pink-haired girl was as well. Several other students were looking on and Naruto sighed. I have being the center of attention. Now that you're all here again, you may start with the tests once more. The Hokage said as he sat behind the teacher's desk, the pair of Anbu watching the room full of potential genin. Naruto found the test about average. There were some things he didn't know, but since he hadn't been here for over a decade, that was to be expected. Written test. I'd say about 95 out of 100 questions isn't too bad of a shot. The blonde thought, closing the test sheet and flipping the test sheet over. He looked around and saw that the pink-haired girl had finished and was sitting with her hands folded atop the desk. He saw that the pineapple hair-styled boy was asleep atop his test. Others were in the state of near completion. Naruto's eyes found those of the Hokage, and he gave the old man a grin. Behind the teacher's desk, Sarutobi, the man called the professor, shuddered and wondered what the blonde was going to do next. All right, now that the written test is finished, we will be moving outside to the practice field and the training course. The Hokage watched as the two Anbu herded the kids out the door and he sighed as he followed at a slower pace. So what do you think so far, Naruto? The blonde looked surprised as he fell into step with the old man, just like he did when he was a child and they would walk the village. The Uchiha's unstable, Naruto said without preamble. He cares not for anyone but gaining power. Sarutobi sighed and nodded. What else? Most the girls care more about impressing him than being a ninja. How did standards fall so far, Oji-san? The Sandaime Hokage smiled hearing the familiar nickname the blonde had given him all those years ago. With another sigh he looked at the gathered group that was waiting for them. I allowed the council to gain too much control over things I didn't want to deal with. Only too late did I realize what I had allowed in my effort to minimize my job. Well, it's too late now. Guess I'll have to take your job. His head and Sarutobi laughed. They reached the group and Sarutobi looked on as the Anbu set up targets. We shall test your skills with targets, then you all get to run the obstacle course, and your ninjutsu skills before we have taijutsu matches. Naruto looked at the section that was walled off. He looked at the targets and sighed. In a low voice he muttered. Too damn easy, Oji-san. Target practice went with Sasuke getting the best marks so far, but there were two students after him and he was sure they couldn't beat him. Naruto. The Hokage asked. I think you should allow Ino-chan to go first, Oji-san. I tend to treat targets rather rough. Naruto said and the Hokage nodded, remembering the tests he'd had Naruto take with the Jonin. Good idea. Ino Yamanaka, if you would please. The blonde girl who had been next to Naruto nodded and took her place. You may begin. The Hokage said. Ino's throws with the Senbon, Shuriken and finally Kunai were impressive. Naruto raised an eyebrow as the only kunoichi in the group had come close to her aim was the white-eyed Hyuga girl. She nearly beat the Uchiha's score. Yeah, take that billboard brow, Ino said, turning and pulling her eye down with her index finger and stuck her tongue out at the pink-haired girl. Naruto. The Hokage gestured for the blonde to take his shot. Naruto stood further back from the line after gathering the 10 Senbon needles, 10 shuriken and 10 kunai. He smiled and spun. He was a blur of motion, and when he was done, the Senbon were in the spots that were marked on the human targets for pressure points. The shuriken and kunai were right atop of one another in the head, neck, heart and groin. Very nicely done, Naruto. Wait for it, the blonde said, and the Hokage winced as he turned and finally noticed the slight red glow. Everyone back, he ordered, and they did just as the target exploded. Naruto stood unmoving, his arms crossed as he looked right at the Uchiha. The message sent. That can be you if you try to mess with me. The obstacle course was fun for Naruto. It started off with a step, it then went to a rolling log with weighted balls flying at the student trying to cross. Next was a rope climb, followed by a narrow corridor that you needed to jump up to and try and crawl up, which reminded Naruto of his friend Spider-Man for some reason. Then there was the bungee hang and cross while avoiding rubber kunai being thrown at you and trying to avoid while getting across the water hazards below. The students then had to make their way up a warped wall, climb another rope with the disadvantage of a chunin at the bottom spitting fireballs at you till you got to the top and slammed the buzzer. The Hokage writing the times down. Most of the students got hung up on one obstacle or another. Sasuke made it through, a sneer on his face. Ino also made it, but it took her some time on the spider climb and rope climb due to lack of physical strength. Naruto breezed through the course, smashing all previous records in less than 40 seconds. Sarutobi pulled him aside. How did you do that? Training with Logan. He would set up the training room to be 100 times harder than that. Naruto didn't mention that sometimes it was armed with lethal traps either. Well done, all of you. I see we shall need to offer chakra courses to future classes. He looked at Naruto, who shrugged. Not my fault, the old man sent chakra building exercises. We now move on to the ninjutsu portion. If you'll follow the Anbu. Sarutobi said and grabbed Naruto. Once the others were gone, he looked at the blonde. I want you to keep from using anything higher than D rank or C rank. Naruto paused and nodded. I'll use what they've seen. As they walked, Naruto asked a question. About the taijutsu. Sarutobi almost wished he was in his office doing paperwork. Naruto stood next to the Hokage as once again they went down the list. He watched the one with the high collar and shades. Shino Ambarame used his insects to destroy a wooden target. The list went on and on. Naruto watched as many used family jutsus or academy taught ninjutsu, some not even that good. When it got to the Uchiha, he watched as the fool used the same Kaden attack on the target that he tried to use on him in the classroom. Naruto sighed and performed a Kage Bunshin, giving the Hokage a look saying that he wasn't going to show more with the Uchiha there. Ino performed a standard Bunshin and the Hokage smiled. Now, we shall move on to the taijutsu portion. Everyone pair up. Except you, Naruto, you will help me judge. Why doesn't he get to fight? Sasuke demanded, and the Hokage leveled him with a look. The dobe afraid he'll get hurt. The Uchiha mocked, ignoring the look from the third. No, Uchiha. Naruto will not be partaking in this exercise, as I evaluated him Saturday and he went toe to toe with several Junin. If he was to take on any student, he would crush you. Muttering was heard. Oh, come on, idiots. We saw him fight of Mizuki sensei and spank Sasuke for crying out loud. Ino said, shaking her head. And don't act all tough, Sasuke, you got pawned. The last loyal Uchiha to Konoha scowled as one of his fangirls said this to him, and he snapped. His hands flashed through the seals. Kaiton, Naruto had appeared beside him with a BAMF and buried his fist in Sasuke's gut. You stupid, spoiled bastard. That is no way to treat a girl, especially when she speaks the truth. The other students were shocked that Sasuke would try and attack a student, especially in front of the Hokage and a pair of Anbu. They noticed the Hokage had motioned for the Anbu to stay back. The old man's eyes were watching Naruto, who looked at him. The Tem here wants to fight. Fine. With your permission, Lord Hokage. Naruto said with a slight bow as he removed his fist from Sasuke's gut, and the Uchiha slumped to the ground coughing, his eyes wide in shock. Fast. So fast. I must have this power of his. Sarutobi puffed on his pipe a moment. As you wish, Naruto, but I won't kill the bastard. Hell, I won't even maim the spoiled brat, much. He looked at Ino and winked. She smiled as she felt her cheeks heat up. What is wrong with me? She thought as she watched the blonde take up a very relaxed stance on the practice field while waiting for Sasuke to recover. I wanted Sasuke for as long as I can remember. Me and Forehead ended our friendship over him. Yet, since I saw him, I want someone who appreciates me. Ino's eyes went back to the strange blonde that with a few accented kind words had caught her attention, and his open flirting was something as well. It's like night and day. Sasuke's cold and doesn't care for anyone, and this Naruto, my heart flutters. Sasuke's going to kick his. Sakura said from next to her as the last loyal Uchiha got to his feet, glaring at Naruto. Get real, Forehead, Ino said, causing the pink-haired girl to look at her in surprise. Naruto is leagues above Sasuke in every way. What? Sakura screeched in surprise. What are you talking about, Ino? Sasuke's the best. Is he? Ino asked, sparing her a glance with a raised eyebrow. How? You and I dominate the tests and book learning. Yeah, Sasuke is skilled in his family's style, but he can't beat Hinata when they spar, nor Shino. Shika and Choji don't care and don't really try. Kiba, if he would calm down, I bet he'd beat Sasuke too. You saw the weapons when I try. Sakura looked at her like she was growing a second head. So he knows a few of his family fire jutsus. Big deal. I know a few of my dad's that could stop him cold. Ino continued. But grow up, Sakura. Yeah, he's got that whole brooding orphan thing going, but truthfully, I know I'd be happier in a marriage with someone like Naruto. Someone who sees me as more than just breeding stock. Sasuke does. No, he don't, Sakura, Ino said, cutting her off. He has not once shown any interest in any female. And he only spends time trying to get the other males to fight him. The upper students wouldn't, and the teachers go easy on everyone. He's going to go out in the real world, Forehead, and get himself and his teammates killed. Ino turned back to the field. Now shush. I want to watch Naruto-kun put the spoiled brat in his place. Sakura looked at her former friend and rival in shock. Sasuke's the greatest. You'll see Ino and come back chasing him. But it won't matter, as Sasuke-kun will be mine. Insert inner Sakura mad laughter. Naruto watched as the Uchiha got to his feet. Man, I didn't hit him that hard. I hit him like I would Jamie, and that would get 2 duplicates, it was a tap. I'm going to kick your dobi. Sasuke sneered as he took up his family's interceptor style. Naruto yawned. You say something, Sasuke-chan. Off to the side, Sarutobi sighed. Naruto's going to crush him, and I can hear the fools on the council already. With a sigh, he motioned for the Anbu to start the fight. Naruto with little movements sidestepped Sasuke's charge and smacked him on the back of the head, causing him to stagger and nearly fall on his face. Come on, Uchiha, that was weak. Sasuke's face became red from rage as he spun and tried to kick Naruto, but the blonde blocked them with his arms and he stepped forward and kicked Sasuke in the chest, sending him flying backwards. The Uchiha hit the ground and rolled end over end before coming to a stop 30 feet away. Naruto yawned. Come on. You wanted to fight me, so fight me. Sasuke leapt to his feet and pulled a kunai. The Anbu in charge was going to interfere, but Sarutobi stopped him. Let them go, the Hokage said, and watched as Naruto sidestepped at the last second, grabbed Sasuke's wrist and spun him up into the air and then into the ground face first. He spun the other boy's arm, adding pressure to the wrist lock, and put a foot to Sasuke's neck. I can break your arm, snap your neck and walk away with a smile, Uchiha. If this is the best you have, you should quit being a ninja. He added more pressure to the arm with his right hand, then with his left grabbed the kunai as it slipped and he tossed it several feet away. This is a taijutsu spar. If you wish to add weapons, fine, but when I slice your pretty boy face up, don't go running to the Hokage. Naruto released the wrist lock and stepped several feet away, his back to the Uchiha as a sign of disrespect. Sasuke got to his knees, the glare he sent promised he'd kill the blonde now. Sasuke no longer caring about the spar, his hands went through the motions and he spat out. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. He spat the great fireball, and due to the size he didn't see the red BAMF as the ball hit the ground and exploded. Gasps filled the air, as the other students couldn't believe that the Uchiha would do something so dirty as attack a fellow student from behind and try to kill them. Anbu were going to rush in, but again the Hokage stopped them. It's not over, Sarutobi said as he watched the grin on the Uchiha's face. He will not be a ninja. He shows no shame in attacking a fellow ninja during a spar, from behind no less in a taijutsu spar with a powerful fire jutsu. BAMF. Naruto appeared right above Sasuke and landed on him, driving the Uchiha to the ground. Naruto's trench coat was smoking, indicating how close it had been. His atomgun eyes, showing as his shades were raised, were blazing in rage. Naruto, Sarutobi said, seeing the blonde pushing Sasuke's face into the dirt. That's enough. He's failed. Gasps from the female Sasuke supporters couldn't believe it that the Hokage failed Sasuke. By law, I have a right to kill him, Oji-san. He said, pushing his foot down with more pressure. Yes. Yes you do, Sarutobi said, walking forward. But is it the right thing to do? Naruto growled. The lessons Logan had drilled into him was screaming at him to eliminate the bastard now. But the lessons he learned from the professor and Storm and the others were telling him to be the better man and let him live. Sarutobi watched the blonde and he saw the young man before him remembering and then step off the Uchiha. He tries it again, and there won't be a third chance. Naruto said, stepping away. Anbu, take Sasuke to the hospital to be checked over and have them schedule a psych evaluation. He is not to leave until I says so. The Anbu nodded and grabbing the prone Uchiha vanished in a leaf shushin. Sarutobi looked at the other Anbu. Get them going in spars. Naruto, walk with me. The blonde sighed as he fell into step with the Hokage. He didn't see two sets of worried eyes following him as he walked away. I'm sorry, Oji-san, Naruto said when they were far enough away from the class, so that the Inuzuka's sensitive hearing or the Hyuga's Byakugan eyes could find out what was being said. Sarutobi waved it off. I should have stopped it when he pulled the kunai. I'm sorry, Naruto. The former Jinchuriki sighed. I shouldn't have provoked him like that, but he was begging for it. He looked at the old weary eyes of the Hokage. I just caused you a shitstorm of paperwork. Sarutobi laughed. So, who were you remembering when I told you to let go? Naruto scratched the back of his neck and pulled the mask down around his neck. Logan and the professor. Logan would have gutted him for that stunt, or if he was a student, he'd be in the training room until he passed out only to wake up and do it all over again. Naruto remembered his one fight with Bobby, and while the older boy was bigger and stronger, Naruto's skills gave him an edge, and in the end the two of them ended up in the danger room under Logan's pissed off eye after their fight wrecked his bike. And, the professor spoke of peaceful coexistence. How everyone deserves another chance. Naruto sighed, remembering how many times those new chances came back to bite the X-Men on the. I mean it, Oji-san. That's the second time that the Uchiha tried to make me charbroiled. He tries it again, I will use deadly force. Sarutobi sighed. Naruto was right. For the Uchiha to attack a fellow leaf villager like that would result in death. Oji-san, why is he given so much leeway? I bet if the Inuzuka are hell, me for example, I'd be killed for the slightest wrong. Sarutobi sighed. Sasuke is the last loyal Uchiha to Konoha. The council bends backwards to keep him happy. The first and second Hokages would be disappointed in how this village behaves. Your birth father Minato would be disgusted as well. And you, Oji-san. I am as well. I know I have no right to say this, Naruto, but you grew up to be a fine upstanding young man, and you will make, as my grandson says, an awesome ninja. Oji-san, Naruto said after a bit. I need to tell you something about the world above, and myself. Ino had won her spar against Sakura with a scissor kick to the back of the pink-haired girl's head after a hard shot had doubled her over. Ino looked off to where Naruto was still talking with the Hokage. Get over it. He's not yours, yet, but damn, I hope he isn't in trouble for what he did to the stupid Uchiha. She bumped into Hinata, who she saw was watching as well. Hinata. Anyo. Ino. Ino looked from Naruto to Hinata, and suddenly she smiled. You like him too. Hinata blushed. He saved me before he left 11 years ago. Hinata's fingers were twiddling together. He was so loud, but she looked back to where they saw the Sandaime Hokage pull Naruto into a hug, the blonde's shoulders shaking. Both girls felt worried that something was wrong and without thought rushed ahead. They reached the pair as they heard the Hokage say, I don't care if you're a mutant. You are Naruto. You might not be my grandson by birth, but I saw your parents as if they were my children, and when you were born, you became precious to me, Naruto. Just because your DNA has an extra. Oh, hello, ladies. The Hokage said, noticing the pair. Naruto spun out of the Hokage's hug and looked at Hinata and Ino. They both noticed the hint of fear in his blue-on-black eyes. Ino looked at Naruto, who looked at her. Hey Cher, whatcha doin' out here? Sarutobi coughed into his hand. Ino smiled at the accent, while slightly next to / hiding behind her was Hinata with a huge blush as she heard the voice of her hero. Came to see if you were okay, and not in any trouble. She asked the last while looking at the Hokage. Naruto isn't in trouble. I see we are done with the spars. If you'll excuse me, ladies. Naruto, head back to the classroom. He said as he went to rejoin the group and relieve the poor Anbu who had to deal with a group of curious children. So, mutant, is that some bloodline thing? Ino asked, crossing her arms and rocking on her heels. Ino. Hinata said, scandalized. Naruto smiled. In a way. Naruto said. So, how do you do in your spar, Ino-chan? He looked at Hinata and paused. I know you. Hinata. Eep. And passed out in a faint. He asked, looking at Ino as they looked at the Hyuga girl. It is kinda cute. Ino said. She looked at Naruto. Her name is Hinata Hyuga. She said you saved her before you left the village. Naruto saw the questioning look and sighed. Well, it was a day or so before I had an accident. Naruto started as they both crouched next to Hinata. Flashback. 11 years ago. Naruto was slipping down back alleyways trying to avoid anyone when he heard someone scream. He froze, thinking it was someone who saw him again and they were going to come after him, saying he stole something. He heard nothing and kept moving. He turned a corner and someone ran right into him. The larger figure fell and rolled, hitting the wall. The bundle he'd been carrying slid several feet away. Naruto got up, shaking the cobwebs from his head, and heard a muffled cry from the bundle. The person who ran into him was up and glaring at him. Get the hell out of here, kid, or I'll kill you. The man said. He was dressed like a ninja, but his headband didn't have the leaf symbol. Who are you? Naruto asked. The man swore and pulled out a knife. Naruto heard sobbing from the bundle and he saw the man's look as he searched for someone following him. Your lucky day, kid. I'd kill you, but I have more important matters to attend to. The strange ninja went to pick up the bundle and Naruto, seeing a child's hand come out, knew he couldn't let the man leave. With a yell he charged and tackled the man's knee. He tripped and fell right onto his kunai, which buried itself in his neck. Naruto was shaking and he walked away from the man and bumped into the bundle. He turned and started untying the ropes and soon revealed a little girl his age. She was bound and gagged, her hands were tied together. Naruto started to untie the blindfold. It's okay. You're safe now. Naruto just got the blindfold off when he heard someone entering the alley. Get away from her, you filthy little monster. Naruto dropped the blindfold and without looking at the girl raced away. End flashback. And that was the last time I saw her. Naruto finished. Wow, you killed a guy at 5 years old, Ino said. And saved my life. They both looked down at Hinata, whose head was on Ino's lap. Her lavender eyes looked at Naruto. Hey there, Haim. Naruto said with a grin. She gets called a princess, and I get called. Ino started and Naruto smiled. Well, yeah, she is a princess of sorts. Well, so am I, Ino said. Well then, Princess Ino, I humbly beg your forgiveness for being rude, and not knowing you were heir to the Yamanaka clan. Ino smiled at him. That's better. He looked down at Hinata, who was blushing. Having spent time with his father, he knew why. The chances to blackmail. Shaking himself mentally, he raised an eyebrow at her. You okay, Hina Haim? She blushed and nodded. Good. We need to get back before Oji-san sends Anbu out thinking I be having me wicked ways with such divine creatures. Both girls blushed. Naruto smiled internally and pulled them both to their feet. All aboard the Labo Express. He said, and before either could comment, he teleported them with a loud BAMF. They appeared in the front of the classroom right next to the Hokage as he was giving last-minute speech. Now, those of you who pass will be informed by tomorrow afternoon and will need to have your ninja ID finalized before class on Friday. You have off until then, and will need to report back here for team placements. Sarutobi looked at Naruto. And I'm putting a bell on you. Me. Naruto looked at the Hokage with wide innocent eyes. His grin was nearly ear to ear. That teleport gives no warning. Sarutobi said. Naruto shrugged and looked at his two passengers who looked a bit off. Sorry ladies. I should have warned you. The first time can be a bit disorienting. Ino fought to keep herself from throwing up. What was that? Bamf port. I learned how to use it with my secondary chakra source that used to be the Kyuubi's. Hinata was clutching his arm, her eyes squeezed tightly shut. Hina, you can let go. He said softly to her. She shook her head and buried it into his shoulder. He looked up hearing Sarutobi's chuckle. Not one word, Lord Hokage. Naruto said. I have a jutsu I made for you. Sarutobi raised an eyebrow. You made for me. He looked at the rest of the class who was watching the interaction with rapt attention. Clearing his throat. Class dismissed. He said. Not one body moved. He looked at Naruto who was grinning. It was a grin he remembered on the 5-year-old face of a boy who pulled a successful prank. Now, Naruto. The grin seemed to get even larger. Sarutobi knew that if the boy were to perform whatever prank he had in mind, he would never live it down with so many young witnesses. So he did what anyone in his place would do. A leaf shushan later and he was safe in his office. Naruto was really trying not to laugh. He felt a poke in his ribs and looked at Hinata who was still holding tightly to his arm. Not like I could have performed it anyway. One-handed jutsus are still hard. He thought. Yes, Hina, he said and smiled seeing her blush again. Hey. Naruto looked up to see the boy with the dog on his head. Inuzuka. He thought. Yes. Naruto said lazily. Ino on his other side poked him now and he looked at her. She recovers quick, which is good. Behave, or you won't take us to lunch. She hissed. Us. He looked from Ino to Hinata. We need to talk. Ino said after sharing a look with Hinata who peeked away from Naruto's arm. Hey. What? Naruto asked seeing the Inuzuka coming his way. Kiba. Stay out of it. Ino said looking at the approaching boy. Get away from Hinata. Kiba said. Naruto sighed before glancing at Hinata. You his girlfriend Hina? He asked, pitching his voice low to her. Shaking her head. No. Kiba's a friend. Naruto sighed. A friend. Not with that look in his eye he ain't. I'd bet my winnings from that poker tournament with Logan, Ben, Colonel Fury and Cap, that Kiba wants you all to himself. Get us out of here. Ino hissed seeing Shikamaru and Choji, accidentally, block Kiba's path. Hold on, Himes. Naruto said low and both girls squeezed his arms and shut their eyes. Kiba nearly reached them and dove through the red cloud from Naruto's BAMF port. Damn it. The Inuzuka said while his partner Akamaru shook his head. Bro. Leave it alone. The canine thought. That fox is alpha to even your mother. Akamaru chuckled thinking the fox-smelling boy would soon be the talk of all the females. Especially with his smooth words and manners. The dog thought as it yawned and walked towards his pet. Sigh, humans are strange pets, why do I have to get the slow one? Akamaru thought as his pet picked him up and placed him atop his head as they left the classroom with the rest of the students. I wonder if we're having liver tonight. Akamaru pondered. So, Naruto inquired after they appeared atop the Hokage monument. Both girls finally let him go and sat down with him between them in a triangle formation, with the girls facing him. Ino looked at Hinata who looked down and was twiddling her fingers together and turning a bright red. With a sigh the more outspoken of the pair spoke up. We both want you. Ino stated without preamble. Why? You don't know me. Naruto said looking from one to the other. Hinata looked like she wanted to sink into the ground, and Naruto wondered if she had Kitty's power what she would be like. You're different than the boys we've grown up around and went to class with. You know how to treat a girl. Ino started. You're good looking, obviously powerful, intelligent. I could be a monster. Naruto said. Ino shook her head. A monster wouldn't go out of its way to protect a classroom full of students, or a girl who shot her mouth off to the Uchiha. AAM Monster W wouldn't save AG Girl F from AAAK kidnapping. Hinata stuttered out. O or S stick A around TT to see if she's okay. Naruto looked at the two. He'd read up on clan laws, and he could have more than one wife, but how about He scratched his chin, realizing he'd left his mask down. How about a trial period? He said after a bit. A what? Ino asked. I date both of you. We spend time getting to know one another. Then say, after a year, if either of you wish to back out of this, or both of you, then you may. Hinata paused, took a deep breath. What about your feelings? She rushed to get it out without stuttering. Naruto gave her a smile. I won't force either of you to do anything. I leave the pace and all to your decisions. He scratched his cheek, and Ino wanted to reach out and touch the whisker marks. I have experience in dating and, he sighed. My papa took me out to get from a hooker for my birthday. Both girls blushed at this. Grandpa Lebeau did the same for him on his 16th, Naruto shrugged. Naruto. Ino started. I notice sometimes, your accent. Naruto laughed at this. A habit I picked up from my adoptive father. Heck, there are times I mimic my mother's accent as well when I'm upset. He thought of the time when Bobby and Lance had tried to prank him and Jamie, and they had ruined his gift he'd spent days making for his mother who had been sick with the flu. I tend to mimic accents and voices sometimes. Naruto said finally with a shrug. Dad's mostly. Sometimes Mom. Uncle Kurt's when we're roughhousing. He paused. Logan's if I've spent long hours sparring with him. Naruto shook his head, remembering the first time he returned from an all-day danger room session with Wolverine. He'd entered the kitchen and his dad had asked him something and Naruto said something rude and ended with, bub. Logan even offered him a beer, which got him a beating from Jean, Rogue and Storm, well out of sight of Naruto of course. Your family sounds interesting. Ino said. We're not related by blood, well some of them are, but yeah, we're a family in so many ways. My clan. Naruto thought and he liked the thought of that. So, how do we do this? Hinata asked. Well, hold on their whiskers. Ino said and Naruto looked at her. What? She asked as his eyes bored into her. That's the second time you've called me that, Cher. Naruto said and Ino blushed. I'm sorry. She said. No, it's okay. Someone back home called me that as well. Naruto said. Girl. Ino asked, feeling jealous. Naruto laughed. Kitty. She's as bad as Logan giving everyone nicknames. Ino scowled. What kind of hussy is named Kitty? Naruto saw Ino's look and laughed more. Ino. Calm down, Cher. Kitty is older, and like my aunt. Besides, she's, well, can't say dating as her and Lance are off again, but she's my aunt. He said. Ino relaxed. Sorry. Naruto waved it off. He saw Hinata looked calmer too at the explanation. Sheesh. Best not let them meet Laura or Jubes. He thought, thinking of the two girls his age. Of course, Jubilee is a force unto herself. But Laura, Naruto mentally shudders thinking of the female Logan clone who had become attached to him during the time at the institute. Face it, Naruto, you left her in a better place. Konoha would have been no place for an assassin trying to quit. Naruto felt his spine tingle. So, late meal, ladies? He asked, standing up. Ino looked at the watch on her wrist and sighed. Sadly, I have to work the counter at my family's flower shop. How about tomorrow we meet up for lunch and see how we all did on the tests? The blonde Kunoichi asked. Hinata nodded. I have tea to speak with my father, but tea tomorrow is good. Naruto nodded. I'll meet you both at Ichiraku's ramen stand. You are not taking us, Ino began, but Naruto shook his head. Non-share, but it is a good meeting place. Think of it as neutral ground. Pacified. Ino nodded and kissed him on the cheek before skipping away. Hinata paused, then kissed his cheek as well. Naruto was certain you could see her blush like a beacon all over Konoha, before she rushed away as well. Naruto dropped back to the ground. 2. He muttered. Mom's gonna skin my hide. He muttered. Naruto entered the Hokage's office well after sunset. The old man was sitting behind the desk finishing up the day's paperwork. Have an interesting day, Naruto. The Hokage asked after a few moments with nothing being said. You could say that, Oji-san. Naruto said as he pulled out a deck of cards and began to shuffle it, a nervous habit he picked up from his adoptive father. So, I take it Ms. Yamanaka has her eye on you now? The Hokage inquired, putting his seal on another report. And Hinata Hyuga. The blonde said. Sarutobi got a faraway look in his eye and a small trickle of blood seeped from his nostril. Naruto saw this and growled. Hentai old fart. Sarutobi wiped away the blood and gave Naruto a look. Now Naruto, that is no way to address your elders. Naruto smirked. We're going out for lunch tomorrow. Naruto said and he looked nervous. They both want me, I can see it in their eyes. Well, you did save their lives, Naruto. I mean, the Hyuga heiress 11 years ago, and Ino earlier when the young Uchiha tried to fry her. Speaking of the Tem, which I don't want to, but what's going to happen to him? Sarutobi sighed. The council has released him with a warning, and they feel that allowing him to pass the Genin exam will help ground him and keep him satisfied with the village. Naruto closed his eyes. I won't be on his team. I don't care if I have to return to the world above, but I won't team with that unstable spoiled brat. You won't. I'll be speaking with the Jonin instructors and see who wants who on their team. Sadly, with Kakashi dead, there is no one who really wants Sasuke on their team. Naruto snorted as he continued to shuffle the cards, his eyes closed. Doesn't that tell you something right there? Naruto sighed. I ask that you keep what I told you about the institute under your ugly hat, and what I told you about my own mutation. Sarutobi chuckled. My ugly hat. Don't you want my job anymore, Naruto? Hell no, OG-san. The hours suck, the pay is non-existent and there's too much paperwork. The Hokage sighed. Sadly, you're right about that. So, what else? Most of the current genin are far too confident. May I suggest those that pass the instructor's team tests, you have a survival exam with each team. Have a controlled situation where they will think it is life and death. Like that danger room you mentioned. Yeah, Logan was sadistic, but he wouldn't let anyone out into the field if they weren't ready. Mom and Dad refused to let me into the field until a year and a half ago, and that was under protest. What happened? Sarutobi asked. Some government idiot came up with a war on mutants. He called it Operation Zero Tolerance. And where are you going, daughter? Hiyashi Hyuga asked, seeing his daughter dressed to go out. Father. She looked down and sighed. I have a lunch date. A date? With whom, may I ask? Hiyashi asked, wondering who caught his daughter's attention. In Ino y Yamanaka and N Naruto Uzumaki Labo. She said, not meeting her father's eyes. If she had, she would have seen the anger there as well as the hardening of the eyes. I forbid this, he said. Hinata's head snapped up. You will stay away from that boy. I know last night the Hokage made the village-wide announcement about him being the former container for the Kyuubi, but he has spent time away from Konoha and we do not know where his true loyalties lay. Hiyashi narrowed his eyes when Hinata shook her head. I won't stay away from Naruto-kun. She said. He saved me 11 years ago and came back stronger. Want to get to know him father. Hiyashi narrowed his eyes. You dare defy me? He questioned. Oh, auntie this. Why yes. Hinata lifted her eyes and looked at the man who was physically shaking in anger. Go to your room. I will deal with you when I calm down. I forbid you to see that boy. If you do, I will have you marked with the caged seal and Hanabi named heir. Hinata stood there. Her eyes widened. You cannot, she said, and his head snapped around to look at her as he was leaving the room. What? He hissed in a deadly voice. Mother's dying wish, neither Hanabi nor I are to bear the caged seal. It was her last will. Slap. Hinata lay on the ground holding her cheek where her father slapped her. Don't you dare mention that woman to me, daughter. If she had been a proper wife and bore me a son, this would never have been an issue. He motioned and 2 branch members showed up. Take her to her quarters and make sure she stays there. He turned and walked away, his strides full of anger. Naruto sighed as he looked at his watch. They're both late. Papa was right. Naruto was tempted to slip into the ramen stand and get a bowl or 4 of ramen, but he knew his luck in these matters. Just as I eat, they'll show up. Sigh, perchance I scarred them off with mentioning Papa took me to see a hooker. It's a Labo family tradition for fathers to take their sons to get some experience when they come of age. The blonde thought. He was wearing a pair of black cargo pants and a black shirt. I should have worn my foamy shirt. It's not like it was formal, but then again, that might confuse people. Naruto thought of some of his shirts with images and sayings from the world above. Hey, not to mention some of them that Evan and Bobby got me are downright vulgar. Looking at his wristwatch again. 5 more minutes. Then I'll get a bowl of ramen. Ino Yamanaka was in a frantic mood. She'd woken up late, and then her parents wanted to talk to her about Naruto. Flashback. Princess, can your mother and I have a word with you? Her dad asked from the living room. Ino, who was already running late and wanted to shower and pick out her outfit before her date, she made a squeee sound with Naruto for lunch. With a sigh, she entered the living room. What is it? I need to get ready. Ino said, looking at her parents. I hear from Gale Haruno that Sakura told her you've taken an interest in that Naruto boy. Her mother said, crossing her arms while sitting on the couch. Seeing it's not forehead's business, but yes, what's the big deal? The Kyuubi is dead, and Naruto was just the container. Ino dear, I don't want you near that boy. Her mother said. Ino looked at her father, whose face showed that he didn't agree with his wife's thoughts on the matter. Why? Ino asked. Because he's a monster. Ino looked at her mother for a moment, then turned on her heel. I'm sorry you feel that way, mother. But considering he saved my life yesterday, I don't see a monster. I see a handsome young man who stood up to a spoiled brat known as Uchiha and has done nothing wrong since his arrival here. Petunia Yamanaka frowned. Get back here, young lady, we aren't finished. Ino spun and glared at her. I think we are. All you've done is insult him. He's done nothing to you or anyone here to deserve the hate you adults keep spewing at him. Yesterday Mizuki tried to kill him, Sasuke tried to kill him, but none of you seem to have taken the time to get to know him. Inoichi Yamanaka was proud of his daughter, but his wife's next words showed her hatred of the boy she never even met. I heard at the market he killed Kakashi Hatake, a well-respected and loyal jonin of Konoha. That does not sound like a good boy to me, Ino Yamanaka. Inoichi sighed. Well, it is true he killed Kakashi on Saturday. See, that boy is a murderer, a monster. Petunia said, feeling vindicated. As I was saying, he did kill Kakashi during his exam, only after Hatake tried to kill him with the Chidori. It was witnessed by the Hokage and 2 other jonin. Inoichi said, looking at his daughter. See, mom, he defended himself. Inoichi was proud of his daughter. I forbid you seeing him. Petunia snarled. Inoichi shook his head. I disagree. Ino, why don't you invite your suitor over sometime this week? Ino smiled and turned to go. Inoichi. Her mother yelled. Now you listen to me, Petunia. That boy was a hero. You heard the Hokage last night. He is the son of the 4th Hokage. The fox stole his image. They say. Listen to yourself. They said. I heard. You have never interacted with Naruto, yet you've judged him. What would you do if people did that to Ino? Petunia scowled. You've been spending too much time with your old teammates. You're using logic. Is it working? Ino was out of the room and rushing to the shower. End flashback. Oh Kami, I am late. Please let him still be there. The blonde thought desperately as she rushed down the streets, her dark purple kimono moving with each movement. She reached the street and saw him standing there alone. She watched as he checked his watch and sigh. His shoulders slump a moment before he turned. Naruto. She called out, stopping him. She watched as he turned towards her and then a smile touched his face. Kami, he's so handsome without that mask. Ino thought as she reached him. Sorry I'm late, had trouble getting out of bed this morning. She said. It's okay. It seems Hinata's either not coming or is running late as well. Naruto said. He looked her over and his gaze seeing how the kimono hugged her curves. Gah. Get a grip. Her ninja clothes are tighter and reveal more Naruto. Focus on the femme. Would you like some tea or water? I'm going to give her 10 more minutes. Water will be fine, Ino said as she studied him as he entered the ramen stand to get them some bottles of water. Hinata, where are you? From what you said yesterday, Ino thought as she scanned the street for the Hyuga heiress. Hinata was in her room finishing getting dressed. She'd used her Byakugan to see her father's posted guard outside her door. I will not give up on Naruto-kun. She thought, adjusting her hair. I know you think he's the fox father, but he's so much more. I saw him being beaten and taken away. When he returned, Hinata blushed. She didn't say anything to Ino, but she'd used her bloodline when she first noticed the blonde and recognized him. Kami, if that's what 11 years has done to Naruto, I'll share him with Ino, just as long as I get to claim him. With him I can be myself, just from watching him since he came back, the way he treated me, how gentle he was holding me when he did that teleport. Hinata sighed as she finished her preparations. Picking up her sash she stepped towards the door. I might never be able to come back after this, but I believe a life with Naruto is better than anything my father has planned. I will not be his scapegoat any longer. She palmed the pack of powder in her hands and opened the door. Lady Hinata, your fath aghhhh. The branch member said as she did something she thought she'd never have to do. She activated the caged bird seal. I am sorry, Jushin. I will not be my father's pawn any longer. I will not be placed in a loveless marriage with anyone, and I will not be used in spars to harm my sister anymore. Hinata said as she turned to the other branch member. And Chosen, please forgive me, I never wanted to harm you either, but my needs are greater than any no. She released the seal and both guards passed out. Hinata slipped away. My time is short. Not only in escaping here, but, Hinata shook her head. I will tell Naruto. Even a year. Ino and Naruto were sitting on a bench near the ramen shop talking. So, did you hear? Ino asked. She loved to gossip, and Naruto she saw liked to listen. Last night someone broke into a Jonin's house and stole several scrolls and money. Naruto and eyebrow. And a Jonin couldn't stop the intruder. He asked with a note of surprise. No. Dad mentioned that it was the Jonin that was recently killed. Ino paused and looked at Naruto. I heard you killed him Saturday. She said. Naruto sighed. Hatake-san tried to use an assassination attack on me. I panicked and used an attack of my own. I accidentally put too much power into it and it killed him instead of the stunning that I had planned. He closed his eyes. I didn't want to kill him. He felt Ino's hand on his forearm and looked at her, her eyes shining. I understand. Dad talked with me about it. He says that the Hokage and 2 other Jonin were witnesses. Naruto nodded. I'll understand share if you wish to cancel. Not on your life, Buster. Ino said, cutting him off. You know, I've had more fun sitting here talking with you about random stuff than any other date I've been on before. Naruto and eyebrow and smirked. And just how many previous do I have to compete with for your affections, mon chéri? Ino melted with the accent. None. She whispered, her voice low as she looked into his blue-on-black eyes. He graced her with a fox-like grin. Then I best impress Non. Ino wanted badly to kiss him. Control yourself, Ino. This is the first date and you're lusting to jump his bones. The blonde mindwalker thought to herself. She saw Naruto look up from her own eyes and past her, and a momentary twinge of resentment filled her. Here comes Hinata, he said, his voice washing over her and erasing the resentment. She turned to see Hinata coming, then she saw the bruise on her cheek and gasped. Naruto was on his feet and saw the handprint on her face as well. His eyes narrowed. No one should hit a femme. Papa made that very clear. In combat 'tis one thing, but. Hinata stopped before him and bowed, a blush rising to her cheeks. Forgive me for being late, Naruto-kun, Ino. She said. Are you okay, Haim? Naruto asked as his hand lightly touched her bruised cheek. I am fine. Just a family disagreement. Hinata said. Do not let it ruin this day. She said. Naruto wanted to push it, but knew it would upset her, so he marked it in his mind for later and bowed. As you wish. He extended an arm to each of them. Now, I found a place, so if we may. Each of them took an arm, and Naruto felt that it was natural. Both of them felt right. They touched him and he felt like pieces of a puzzle connected in his mind. The 3 walked the streets. Some of the villagers watched them. Many of the men were nearly glowing with jealousy of the young man with 2 beautiful-looking kunoichi. A lot of the women were jealous as well, seeing the handsome blonde with the exotic marks on his cheeks. The announcement last night by the Hokage had opened many eyes, not only with the death of the Kyuubi, but who Naruto's birth parents were. Shame had been in the air last night as many remembered how they'd treated the boy 11 years ago. The trio ignored them all. They walked talking of simple things. No way. Ino said, laughing at Naruto's tale. Yes way. Logan hung Bobby from the flagpole outside the institute for his prank, and he had him in nothing more than a pair of girls' panties for daring to steal his beer. Naruto said. The meal had been excellent. They'd talked about their likes and dislikes. Ino admitted that she'd mostly been a Sasuke fangirl to annoy Sakura, who'd ended their friendship on a rumor. Hinata told them a bit about her clan, and after a bit admitted what had happened that morning, finding herself hugged by both Naruto and Ino. We'll talk to the old man later. He'll think of something, Haim. Naruto whispered as she cried about the unfairness that her whole clan treated her with hatred and contempt, even though she'd done nothing to earn that. Tears dried. Hinata told them her weakness for cinnamon rolls. Ino admitted she had a weakness for Pocky, telling how she'd run over her own father when he had tried to keep the last box in the house out of her possession. Your friends from the institute sound interesting, Naruto-kun. Hinata said. They'd shared their meals, the girls were thrilled as Naruto fed them, and they each took turns feeding him. They're more than friends. They became my family, Naruto said, sipping his tea. He looked at Ino, then Hinata. I have to ask Mon Cheries, where do you see this going? He asked. Both girls blushed. The time had come to talk about the relationship. Ino looked at Hinata, whose blush would probably put the sun to shame in its brilliance. Ever since I saw you in class, there was something about you, Naruto. Ino began. I felt drawn to you, and not because of looks, because well hell you wore a mask and that coat and clothes hid your body. She blushed remembering hugging him before that teleport he did and felt his toned muscles. Bad Ino. Just because you wore your fingers out last night. She wiped the trickle of blood away quickly and blushed. But it was something about you. Even before you spanked Sasuke, there was something about you, it called to me. I knew I wanted to get to know you the moment you kissed the back of my hand. I found myself wondering what a life with you would be like. I saw flashes of us down the road, married, children, then I tried to picture anyone else, and for some reason they all felt wrong. Naruto sighed. Damn, Jean was right. He thought as he looked at Hinata. I. Naruto took her hand and was rubbing her knuckles. Relax, petite. He said. You were doing fine all through the meal. Ino too put a hand on Hinata's forearm, willing her to take her strength. Daddy always says that when he felt rushed, he would picture working on the garden, to calm and relax himself. She looked at Hinata. You like pressing flowers, and working with bonsai plants. Hinata nodded. Her blush was doubled with Naruto rubbing circles on the back of her knuckles. She closed her eyes and calmed her breathing like her teachers had taught her, and she opened them to look at Naruto. I too felt drawn to you, Naruto-kun. Back when you saved me when we were 5. Something about you would never leave my mind. When you returned, and entered the classroom, I fought hard to try and not watch you. I had my Byakugan activated and watched you the whole time. Hinata closed her eyes. I never got to thank you for being my white knight that day 11 years ago. You returned and once more stood tall before those that thought they were better, that they could have their way. I want to know you. Even if you just decide to date just Ino, I want to be your friend. Naruto smiled. This will be an interesting year. Mama is going to kill me, but Papa will be proud. Naruto thought. The 3 teens went to see the Hokage, who listened to Naruto's rant about how family shouldn't abuse family. The third was not happy to learn of the physical and mental abuse that Hinata had been put under. He was about to call for his secretary when the door opened and in walked Hiashi Hyuga, flanked by a boy a year older than the teens and an old Hyuga branch member. There you are, he said. Do you know the panic you caused? Hiashi said to his daughter, who was backing away from him. Now come, the Hokage is far too busy for your childish games. He said and reached for her only to have his hand slapped away and Naruto blocking his view of Hinata. Don't you touch her. The blonde said, and the Hokage could feel the killing intent from the blonde. This will be ugly. Out of my way, boy. This is a clan matter. You are not Hyuga. Hiashi said. Naruto snarled. Family don't abuse and belittle family. Naruto said. Hiashi snapped his fingers and the older branch member moved in to remove Naruto. The blonde had other ideas as he reached into his vest and pulled out a pair of cards. Sarutobi winced seeing them glow. Naruto. Not in my office. He said. Should I be scared, boy? The branch member said. So you enhanced them with chakra to be able to throw them, big deal. Sarutobi winced. I've come for my daughter. This has nothing to do with you. Hiashi said. Naruto took up a stance and surprisingly Ino did as well. She's under my protection. Naruto said. She is a ninja of this village. The Hokage said. And under my command. Now then. He said, looking at Hinata. Do you wish to return with your father? Hinata shook her head no rapidly. She held fear in her eyes. This is Hyuga clan business. The boy spoke. It is her fate to be judged by her betters. Naruto snorted. Betters. All I see are people who should be teaching her and helping her abuse and belittle her. Ino was next to him spoke up. I Ino Yamanaka, clan heiress of the Yamanaka clan grant asylum to Hinata Hyuga. Naruto smirked. I Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Labo, give her my protection. The next one of you salad that touch the Haim in any way without her permission, I will blow from here to Kami's court. Sarutobi sat behind his desk and pulled out his pipe. There you have it Hiashi, two clan heirs offering protection to a third that wants to escape her own clan. You may leave. I will have a pair of Anbu escort Hinata to claim possessions she wishes and move her into housing. She can move in with me, I got plenty of room at the mansion. Hiashi snarled and would have attacked but Naruto put the cards up again. Try it I dare you. Hiashi looked from the blue on black eyes to the glowing cards. This isn't over, he said. Of course not. Like you never know when to leave well enough alone. Naruto didn't lower his guard until the three male Hyuga were well out of sight. He sighed as he slipped the cards away and turned just in time to be hugged by Hinata. Ino along with three Anbu took Hinata to the Hyuga estates to claim her personal effects. Naruto sighed and slumped down across from the Hokage. Two girlfriends. The Hokage teased. Naruto scowled. The door opened and Sarutobi groaned seeing his 10-year-old grandson storm in. I've got you this time old man. The 10-year-old boy said and promptly got his feet entangled in a ridiculously long blue scarf. Naruto couldn't help it. He snorted trying to cover his laughter. You tripped me. The boy said. You tripped yourself Goss. Naruto said and he saw the Hokage was enjoying this. Oh yeah you freakazoid. I challenge you. Behind him they heard someone running and a man in black wearing round sunglasses entered gasping. Young master. Naruto saw the scowl on the man's face when he saw him. Honorable grandson, you really must stop attacking your grandfather, he has very important matters to deal with. Grandson. Naruto said looking from the Hokage the shrimp before him. Yeah, that's right. I'm his grandson. The boy said. He saw Naruto hesitate and decided to push his luck. Just as I thought. A coward. Just because he's my grandfather you won't do anything. Sarutobi groaned. Konohamaru, you don't know what you're doing. Listen Goss, I don't care if he's your grandmere. I'll knock your block off. Yeah right. You don't look like you can do anything Outlander. Sarutobi winced and the boy, Konohamaru ended up planted on the floor with a nice-sized bump forming atop his head from the brain duster Naruto delivered. Naruto looked from the boy to the smirking Hokage. And for your comments earlier old man, here it is my first creation. The Hokage winced remembering that he escaped it before, but watched as Naruto was replaced by a beautiful buxom blonde with pigtails and only thin wisps of smoke covering her. Sadly, the Hokage and the Jonin, Ebisu were rocketed backwards with nosebleeds. Naruto humphed and dispelled it. I call that my sexy jutsu, and I just knew you were a pervert. Naruto walked away leaving three people unconscious in the office. When the Hokage and Ebisu recovered they realized that Naruto and Konohamaru were gone. Ebisu left to find the young master, and the Hokage groaned and prayed to Kami that he would quit smoking if Naruto never taught that jutsu to anyone. He sighed and looked at the paperwork on his desk and sighed. The teams I designed won't work. I wonder. The Hokage looked over the graduating class. Something came to him with the numbers. I wonder if it's time for something new. He started making changes. The council might be able to allow Sasuke Uchiha to pass, but he won't be bringing my ninja forces down. Let's see how this goes. And the secretary alone heard the Hokage's cackle and she shuddered wondering what set the old man off. As she was used to the perverted giggles, this one she felt meant someone was going to get a personal visit with Ibiki below the tower. Friday rolled around far too quickly in Naruto's opinion as he dressed to head off for team assignments. He'd spent the week pleasantly with Ino and Hinata, sometimes alone with one or the other, sometimes on dating them together. Hinata was living with Ino's family, since it wouldn't be proper for her to live her alone with just him. And I thought the old man was joking. Naruto's encounter with Ino's father was something he still wondered how the man could be so friendly and open one minute that reminded him of Storm when she was in her garden, and the next minute make him wonder if Inoichi was related to Logan in any shape or form, mostly Logan in his berserker mode. Shaking his head he dressed in simple cargo pants, slipped on his belt and bandolier, then a shirt he'd gotten from Bobby before he left. I am the baddest F-seeker in all the land, was stenciled on in red lettering. He had stopped wearing the mask at the girl's insistence. Ino likes to sneak kisses and Hinata. Naruto shook his head remembering the afternoon under a tree while it rained lightly while they were near the river. Naruto had his head in her lap and she stroked his whisker marks while she hummed a tune she said her mother had sung to her when she was little. He strapped on his thigh holsters and grabbed his gloves before slipping on his shades. His hair he'd tied back into a ponytail and spiked it a bit. Let's see what Oji-san has in store for us now. Naruto's walk towards the academy was slow as he saw Konohamaru stalking him again. I swear, he's worse than I was when I was his age. At least I got him to get rid of that scarf. The boards need to be going vertically, he said walking past the poorly disguised academy student. Ah, man, came the whine. I'll never get it. The 10-year-old said as dropped the sheet and fell into step with the teen who had become his idol after seeing him knock out not only his personal teacher, but his grandfather with one jutsu. Hokage made me swear not to teach that to anyone. Naruto thought remembering Sarutobi shuhining right in front of him soon after he'd fled the office. Sure you will, Naruto said. The Hokage's grandson loved the fact Naruto called him by name, even a nickname, and treated him like he was worth talking to. Not like the adults who just smiled and patted him on the head. Just remember, there are no shortcuts to anything in life. Anything worth doing takes time and effort. Naruto said as they walked. He saw Ino and Hinata waiting at the crossroads for him. And I believe you will be Hokage. You'll surpass them all. You really think so? The shorter boy asked, his eyes wide as he looked up to his idol. Naruto stopped and crouched so he was eye level and lifted his shades. I do. And so does your grandpa. Remember, as long as you try and give your best, then you are better than those who say otherwise, even if you fail. Naruto too his shades off and put them on Konohamaru. Remember, we get knocked down so we can get back up and try again. Now, go on. Your friends are waiting for you. He said, and after the younger boy hugged him and raced off, Naruto turned to see two smiling Kunoichi looking at him. You're going to be a great dad someday, Naru-kun. Ino said as she took his left arm, while Hinata took his right. Not too soon, I hope. He asked, looking from one to the other. Both young women blushed. Ino slapped his shoulder lightly. Any preference to teammates? Ino asked. Naruto sighed. I hope I get to be with one or both of you, but I just hope I'm not with the Uchiha. Sarutobi had told him that the brat had gotten off free with just a minor reprimand from the council. We both hope the same, Naruto-kun. Hinata said softly. The week away from her family had helped her greatly, and time spent with Naruto and Ino had fixed more damage. She still lacked confidence in herself, but she could at least talk and even touch Naruto without fainting. The stuttering still popped up from time to time, but the two blondes helped her work through it all the time and it was getting better. I can't believe Sasuke got off like that, and was passed regardless. Ino said as they continued on their way. They didn't even care that he attacked students and threatened others. Hinata was quiet. Deep breath, they don't want him to abandon the village, so they give in to his demands. Hinata said. My father used to return from council meetings raging about all they do for him. Hinata said, her voice low, the two blondes with her barely catching it. Naruto decided to talk about something else. So, how is living with the Yamanakas, Hina? She blushed and smiled. They are very nice. I like the flowers. She's a natural. I think my mom loves her more than me. Ino said from Naruto's other side. She even likes working in the shop. Naruto smiled. Your dad doesn't mind the extra help. The three were at the academy gates and saw that students were milling about waiting for the first bell before they had to head in. The trio walked past them and into the building. They entered the room and saw Shino in the back, Shikamaru asleep at his desk and Choji next to him munching on chips. Hey Choji. Ino chirped. Mornin' Ino. The Akamaiki said before eating another chip. The trio took up seats behind the Nara and Akamaiki duo. Oh, Daddy wants me to tell you to come to dinner tonight, Naruto-kun. Ino said. The blonde winced. He'd met Inoichi Yamanaka in the flower shop when he was picking up one or the other or both the girls for their dates. The man didn't show him any hatred, but. Flashback. Welcome to Yamanaka Flow. Oh, good morning Uzumaki. The elder ninja said seeing the boy in his flower shop. Good morning sir. I'm here to pick up Ino and Hinata for breakfast, Inoichi smiled. They'll be down in a minute if that rushing about is what I thought it was. He chuckled, remembering seeing both girls rushing about getting ready. Uzumaki, I would like to talk to you about you dating my daughter. Here it comes. Naruto thought. I don't care what you held. I respected the fourth for what he did, and the burden you carried. But know this. The man said, stepping out from behind the counter and in front of the blonde. I don't mind you dating my daughter. Her and Lady Hyuga explained it to me in great detail. This was their idea. But if you hurt either of them, they will never find your body. Am I perfectly clear? The man's face had become shadowed and Naruto swore there was hellfire and brimstone behind him. He gulped. Yes, sir. I won't hurt them, intentionally. Inoichi smiled at that. I know as men we make mistakes, and I can accept you pissing off one or both of them. I know you will. But as long as you stand up and try and fix it, we'll be fine. Naruto swallowed and nodded. Both men turned as they heard the girls coming down the stairs. Inoichi looked at him once more. Remember my warning. End flashback. Naru. Ino said, snapping her fingers in front of his eyes. Hey. Sorry, Ino-hime. He saw that the bell must have rung while he was lost in his memories and both girls were in their seats. Iruka walked in and Naruto smiled, seeing the man was looking better. All right, settle down. Iruka said. The gossiping students weren't listening, still lost in the moment of chattering with their friends. Naruto watched the man's hands. What the he? I said silence. Iruka yelled with his demon head jutsu. Naruto jiggled his ears. Man, he's as loud as Siren. He muttered, thinking of the new mutant member and her sonic scream. What was that, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked as she regained her own hearing. Nothing, Hina-hime, just he's loud with that jutsu. Naruto said as the class faced forward. Iruka sighed as he congratulated them all on passing. The speech had the youngsters drifting off. Now, we are doing something different this year. Iruka's eyes landed on the Uchiha. The first 6 teams will be 3-person cells in our standard format. Iruka went on to read the teams and their senseis. Now, Team 7 is going to be Sasuke Uchiha. You will report to the council chambers where your teammates and sensei will be decided. The last Uchiha smirked. I wouldn't be proud of that, Sasuke. You're getting a team like that is because none of the Jonin trust you and none of the genin that passed the test will either. Iruka said, ignoring Sakura's. I will. Now, Teams 8 and 10 will be 4-person cells. Team 8 will be Shino Ambarame, Hinata Hyuga, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Labo and Ino Yamanaka. Yada. Ino yelled and Hinata smiled as well. Shino off to the side just raised an eyebrow from behind his shades. Naruto smiled, happy to be on the same team with both girls. He looked over at Shino and nodded at him. He's quiet, kinda reminds me of a combination of Scott and Logan in his demeanor. Naruto thought. Iruka sighed and continued. Your Jonin instructors will be Kurenai Yuhi and. What do you mean instructors? A student from Team 4 asked, and many of the earlier teams were curious as well. The 2 4-person cells will have 2 instructors. It is the way the Hokage set it up. Iruka said. Now, as I was saying, Team 8, your instructors will be Kurenai Yuhi and Anko Mitarashi. Naruto looked at the 2 girls with him and smiled. Kurini-sensei is fair and just. I had my test with her last week. I don't know Anko-sensei. He said with a shrug. Team 10 will be Kiba Inuzuka, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamaiki, and Sakura Haruno. Your Jonin instructors will be Asuma Sarutobi and Gekko Hayate. Sakura moaned about not being with Sasuke, while said Uchiha was sitting away from everyone thinking of all the glory he would grab and the council would assign him the best instructor as he was the Uchiha. Snort, idiots need 2 instructors because they suck so bad. I knew the Dobi was lucky in his fight against me. Sasuke said, deluding himself that he was special and the best above all others. Iruka smiled as he looked at the students who passed. Now, you have 2 hours for lunch, then you all need to be back here to meet your Jonin instructors. I wish you all the best of luck. His eyes went to the Uchiha and man could read the, except for you, you spoiled brat. In his glance. Hinata and Ino pulled Naruto along but he stopped. Hey, Shino, was it? The spectacled trench coat wearing teen nodded. Care to join us for lunch? Shino thought about it a bit then nodded and followed them. Ino and Hinata were chatting and Naruto slowed to fall into step with the Ambarame air. De femmes, they love to bavard, non. Naruto asked with a grin. Shino looked at the boy next to him. I do not understand. Naruto smiled. Sorry about that. I slip into French or Cajun when speaking at times, bad habit I picked up from me per. Sorry, my father. Naruto smirked. It's really funny is when I spend time with two of my adopted uncles. I switch from French Cajun to German to Russian in the same sentence, but that's usually when we're all just playing around. Don't believe him, Shino. He talks in French a lot. Ino yelled over her shoulder. Hinata nodded and blushed, especially when he's feeling Hinaheim, shame. Naruto teased. I only whisper those words in your ear. The Hyuga blushed as Ino turned to look at her. Should I feel cheated? No. I just like hearing him speak in French, it's soothing. Hinata said as she twiddled her fingers. Back with the boys. So, Ambarame, that's where you live in symbiosis with your bugs inhabiting your body, right? Yes. Shino said. Does that bother you? He asked. Nope. I've seen stranger and weirder things. Naruto said, his mind flashing to Rani's transformation from red-headed girl to a wolf, or that mutant they met in Australia that called himself Maggot and had two giant slugs that ate everything. He's from Africa and traveling the world as well. Naruto remembered. One of my teachers was big, blue and covered with fur. My uncle is covered with blue fur and has a tail. My adoptive mother can't touch anyone due to her keke genkai out of control. The girls remembered the picture on his wall and he pointed out his family. Hinata had gasped seeing Beast and Nightcrawler, but Naruto told them both that while they look fierce, they were two of the gentlest souls that he'd ever met. Naruto seems to want to trust Shino as well. Ino thought watching the blonde chattering with the Ambarame air. Good, he needs guy friends here, and Shino's okay. Creepy, but okay. The blonde Yamanaka heiress thought as they reached the Green Dragon Diner. The four returned to class after the 2-hour lunch. The three of them had agreed with one thing. Shino was the quietest person they ever met. Iruka was sitting in his seat when they entered. They saw they were the first students back and that their former instructor was taking a nap. Yo, Iruka, Naruto said, waking him up. Huh, oh, Naruto. Iruka said, blinking. Did. Iruka stopped as did the Ino, Shino and Hinata, and they all looked at Naruto, hearing a slight beeping coming from his coat. Naruto actually blushed and pulled out a round device with an X logo on it. He clicked it open. I'm kinda busy. Naruto said in English. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Labo. Came a very angry sounding woman in English. Hello mom. Naruto said softly. Ya Mr. Check-in date. Came the woman's voice again from the communicator. Sorry mom. Naruto said, taking several steps away from everyone and sitting near the window. Tis been a mite busy. Don't give me that excuse, young man. Iruka watched the exchange. It was a radio of some kind, nothing like they used on patrols. He watched as Naruto seemed to be flustered a bit. Iruka couldn't understand what was being said, but he understood the tone of voice. He saw Ino and the others were confused as well. Mom, class is about to start. I promise I'll call back later. Naruto said, halting his mother's rant about his irresponsible behavior he picked up from Uncle Logan and his father about not checking in. Mom. Fine. But if you don't call back tonight, I am coming down there and dragging you back to the institute, as it seems you can't seem to remember to check in when are supposed to. Love you mom, talk to you in a couple hours. Naruto said, shutting the communicator off and shoving it away to an inside pocket. Who was that? Ino asked, coming closer. My mom. Naruto said. I was supposed to call them and let them know how I was doing, sort of forgot. He said, scratching the back of his neck. Hinata sat on his other side. What were you saying? Ino asked. Oh, we were speaking in English. How many languages do you speak, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. Well, there's Japanese, my native tongue. Then there's French, English, German, Russian, some Latin, and well, if you can understand a friend of mine, I guess Californian street slang. He said with a shrug. I wanted to take Chinese and Italian, but they'll have to wait till I go back. Impressive. Shino said from the row right behind them. 7 languages. How many do you speak, Shino? Naruto asked. 2. Our native tongue and a smattering of English. 3 if you count the bond I have with my insects. Yeah, I do. Naruto said with a smirk. So, what did your mom want? Ino asked. She was always curious and anything about Naruto had her radar up and running to learn everything she could about him. Hinata as well focused on the blonde. Just scolded me for not checking in is all. I've got to collar her back later tonight. Most of the students at the institute know Japanese, so it was helpful while I learned English and French. French, that's the one you speak in most. Oui, Naruto said with a smile. They saw that the other teams were back and the bell sounded. The door opened and several people came in. Naruto figured that they were the Jonin instructors. He saw Kurenai enter and smiled. His eyes stopped on the mesh-wearing form of what he assumed was their other instructor. Is that fishnet? He asked. Ino stomped his foot hard. Ow. What was that for? He asked, turning towards her. He paused, seeing the look in her eyes. It was a simple question, ma petite. You brats, let's go. Got blood to spill and dango to eat. Anko said as Shino and the girls were in motion. Naruto was walking when Sasuke stepped in front of him. Is there something you want, Uchiha? He asked. I will get the power you have, Dobi. I am the Uchiha, the council. Kisses your, obviously. But my power is my own. Now be a good sail salope and go bend over fair your new masters, cause they own you now, Uchiha. And with that, Naruto stepped around Sasuke and joined his team out the door. Ino leaned in. What did you call him, Naruto? He smirked as he tilted his head so both her and Hinata could hear. I called the Uchiha a dirty bitch. Hinata's snort of laughter caused Kurenai and Anko to turn and Shino to raise an eyebrow. Well, he is. Naruto said, and Ino's laughter filled the hallway. The dango stand was their destination, Anko getting a round table near the back and placed an order for dango and sake, while Kurenai ordered tea for herself. Ino and Hinata ordered tea and Shino water. Naruto asked for a pop drink. Now, this is where we get to know one another. Kurenai said. We introduce ourselves. Tell us a bit about yourself, likes, dislikes, dreams and or ambitions. We'll go clockwise around the table and I'll start first. She looked at Anko. And that means Anko goes last. Do I have to? The fishnet Jonin asked with a mock pout. Well, you can go first. She offered. No, last is good. I'll have dango by then. Kurenai shook her head at her friend's addiction. As I was saying, my name is Kurenai Yuhi. I was promoted to Jonin in the last 6 months. I specialize in genjutsu, the art of illusion. She looked at her for students before continuing. I like to read romance novels and discover new genjutsus, also spending time with my friends. I loathe with a passion, certain orange books and perverts. My dream is uncertain at this time, but eventually I would like a family. She nodded to Shino, who was on her left. Shino Ambarame. I like discovering new bugs and try to crossbreed them with my family's bugs to increase their abilities. I like listening to soft music and watching fireflies in season. I hate pesticides, extreme cold and toads. I hope to one day perfect my family jutsus and create new ones. My dream is to find a girl who isn't bothered by the symbiosis I share with my bugs. Anko made a face seeing several of the bugs on the Ambrame's hand before they crawled back into his jacket. My name is Hinata. I refuse to use the Hyuga name, for they are nothing but cruel and heartless to those that don't fit their ideals. The Hokage has allowed me to sign emancipation papers in the last week. She twiddled her fingers together for a moment. I like flower pressing, origami, spending time with my two precious people. She looked at Ino and Naruto. I dislike the attitudes of many of the villagers who think they know everything about people, but they know nothing and judge others wrongly. I also like water art and cinnamon buns. Naruto and Ino snickered at this. Both had borne witness to Hinata's addiction. Sadly, Inoichi Yamanaka might regain feeling in his hand in a month or two. My dream. She blushed and looked at Naruto. I would like to have a large family, warm and caring. Kurenai smiled as she saw the looks between the three. The Hokage had talked to her about it ahead of time. Go Whiskers. Anko said, pulling Kurenai from her thoughts. Naruto sat between the girls and didn't even react to Anko's nickname. Name's Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Labo. I am the former container of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. I like my adopted family, Ino, Hinata and my precious people. I like to read, garden, play pranks, spar, and draw. I dislike bigots, perverts and idiots who can't see the difference between strong and caring. My dream, he shrugged. I'm 16, I'll figure that out when I'm older. He nudged Ino. What? No family? She snarked. Maybe. Naruto said with a grin and shared a look with Hinata, who smiled. Blondie. Anko said as she took her dango stick and pointed at Ino. Well, jailbait, my name is Ino Yamanaka. Ino said with a smirk, ignoring the growl from the dark-haired Jonin. I like flowers, gardening, my family, Hinata and Naruto. I have a weakness for reading trashy romance novels and dancing in the rain. I want to train better to help Naruto and Hinata. I want to marry Naruto. In the past week he's shown me what a gentleman can be, and I won't accept anyone else. She smiled as the blonde next to her seemed to blush and hide his face down a bit. I hate Sakura and Sasuke, and the villagers who are too stupid to see the truth. I wish to become a master in my family's jutsus and abilities. She twirled her tea in her cup. I want to be a better person, because of Naruto and Hinata. Till a week ago I was as shallow as Sakura. Naruto touched her arm and she smiled at him. Then I saw Naruto and something in me changed. Sipping her tea she looked at Anko. Your turn, jailbait. Stop calling me that. Anko growled, putting her dango down. Name fits if you dress like that. Ino fired back. Anko. Ino, enough. Kurenai said with a sigh. Anko. Your introduction please, and no theatrics this time. Anko sulked and with a mock pout began her introduction. Anko Mitarashi, special Jonin, co-instructor with Nai-chan here. She said with a jerk of her head to her left. I like blood, dango, reading trashy novels, pranks and a few other things. I hate the villagers who have preconceptions of things they know nothing about, and the council of idiots who share their opinion. I want to kill a certain man and reclaim my honor for all he did to me in the past. She sighed and looked at the kids at the table. That man's name is Orochimaru, the snake Sanin, my former sensei. Kurenai put a hand on her shoulder, and Anko calmed herself, her hands unclenched. Kurenai spoke then. I am giving you an option. You four can take the test now or wait till tomorrow. Test? Ino asked. Yes, you passed the academy test, but if you fail this test you all will be sent back to the academy and be forced to wait till the next graduation before you can try again. Silence met her. And if we pass this test, Kurenai-sensei? Hinata asked. Then you begin your careers as a genin squad and we take missions. She shared a look with Anko. We'll let you four talk amongst yourselves to decide what you're going to do. The two Jonin walked to the bar, leaving the four teens alone. Well, Naruto asked, looking at the girls first, then Shino. It would be ideal to remove the worry of this next test right away rather than allow worry and concerns to cloud judgment down the path. Shino said. I agree with Shino. Hinata said. Ino nodded as well. I hate suspense. Gives me split ends. Naruto smirked. That's cause you bite your hair when you're nervous. He said, getting whacked on the arm for revealing that piece of information. What? Hinata twiddles her fingers and I scratch the back of my neck or shuffle a deck of cards. Naruto said. Ino growled and the others smiled. So, we've reached an accord then. He waved for the Jonin who walked back up. We'll do it now. Naruto said, speaking for the others who nodded their heads in agreement. Kurenai smiled. Good. We'll finish this up and head to training ground 8. Kurenai said. The time passed quickly and they enjoyed talking. Training ground 8. Kurenai looked at the four genin. She knew what Naruto could do thanks to his test the previous week. She also had a clue as to what Hinata could do from her years as her Chunin escort. The wild cards in this would by the Yamanaka girl and the Ambarame heir. Okay. Now that we're here, this will be your test. You need to reach me and tag me 2 times. I will not move from this zone. She pointed to a 5-foot circle. You all will need to get past Anko here, however, and she's got no restrictions. You have 3 hours to accomplish this. She said and put a timer to the side and setting it. The special Jonin smiled, pulling out several kunai. Oh, yeah, yum, all this fresh young blood. She licked the blades in anticipation. We'll begin. Kurenai said and her hands were in motion. The 4 genin scattered and Anko pouted. Ah, none of them want to play. Kurenai shook her head at her friend. They are all good at hiding. I can't even sense Naruto. Anko paused and sent out a chakra pulse. The Yamanaka girl is the worst, followed by the Ambarame. The Hyuga girl, she's good, she's either learned or does it naturally shrinks her chakra, and the Whisker boy, I can't even get a ping. Ah, share, You be lookin' fair Naru Labo, I be touched. Anko spun, and managed to avoid a hail of card-shaped shuriken. Bye bye, he said and tossed a smoke bomb vanished again. How the hell? I didn't sense him at all. Anko said looking around wildly. Kurenai too was shocked. I think they'll pass with flying colors. 55 minutes later they came at the two Jonin. Shino led the way with his bugs. They tried to overwhelm Anko who used a mud clone to vanish. Kurenai set up her genjutsu and watched as Shino froze. Hinata leapt over him and her Juken strikes missed the reappearing Anko by inches. Kurenai remained silent as she watched. Hinata's driving her back. They have a plan. Good. She watched as Shino came out of the genjutsu and sent his bugs at Anko. I really should be helping her, but I do want to see what they got planned. They ain't doin' too bad non. What? Kurenai turned to see Naruto next to her leaning against a staff. Don't worry sensei, I won't cheat too much. I'll help them where it's needed, but if I become involved they won't learn nothing. Naruto said and Kurenai noticed the loss of the accent as he focused on the fight. Kurenai turned and saw where Hinata was driving Anko and watched as Ino stepped from behind a tree. Ninja art. Mind transfer jutsu. Ino called out and Kurenai watched as Anko froze. Is that? She didn't get to finish as Anko leapt at her and rapped her on the head twice. Tag sensei, you're it. Anko Ino said. Very good Ino-chan. Naruto said. Anko Ino smiled and posed. So what do you think Naru-kun? I prefer your body better Ino-chan. I think you best release Anko now Ino. Kurenai said. Anko Ino nodded. Yeah, besides, how can she stand wearing this, it's cold and drafty. She put her hands in the release seal and Anko staggered while back by the tree Ino sat up. Oh, I hate waking up like this. She said standing up and brushing her clothes off. I'm going to kill her. Anko roared and was stopped by Naruto putting his staff under her chin. 'Twas fair Anko institutor. Ino smiled. She like Hinata loved the accent, and while they didn't get his words sometimes, they figured them out eventually. Naruto explained that there were different dialects for French as he called it depending upon region and continent. Some words had multiple meanings and even multiple ways to say the same thing. Kurenai cut off any further conflict speaking up. Well, congratulations, as of right now, Genin Squad 8 under myself and Anko has passed, and tomorrow we can begin the hard work. Anko cussed then yelled, no D-ranked missions. Man, these aren't missions, these are chores that no one wants to do themselves. Ino moaned as they were tasked the following day to deal with farm work outside the gates. Naruto smirked as he created 20 cage buncheons and sent them to work on stacking the bales of hay while he was carrying bags of feed into the barn. It's not that bad. Think of it as a form of training. Kurenai looked at him and smiled as Ino asked him to explain. We test our skills and get a workout at the same time. You test your speed gathering eggs from the chickens, strength from lifting the feed bags and hay bales, dexterity and speed catching the loose animals, chakra building while repairing the barn and fences. He said pointing to where Shino was using chakra to hang onto the side of the building while nailing up fresh boards, then to Hinata and Anko who were using chakra to drive nails into the fence. Ino sighed. And painting? She asked. It was Kurenai who answered. Think of the movements and then picture them in a taijutsu fight. Ino paused not certain. Naruto came up behind her and took her arm, wrapping another around her waist. Like this time, he whispered in her ear. He took her arm and moved it full strokes up and down. Now picture that as a form of blocking. Ino wished he would have continued to hold her, but she went back to painting the shed. She understood now how the missions could be used as a form of training. Her eyes kept looking over to Naruto hauling bags of grain and then as he would haul pails of water. Kurenai smiled seeing her team using this as a chance to train. Most people don't. Naruto realized it right away. She watched as he had created clones to haul lumber for Shino, and the clones chatted with the bug user. She had asked her team if they wanted to train first or do a mission. The 4 genin had agreed to a mission, and Anko's wail was ignored. Bet tomorrow they take training first and missions in the afternoon from now on. Kurenai said as she finished her own tasks. Unlike most jonin, she helped her team with the work. Nai-chan. Anko said slipping next to her. Don't you have to report to the Hokage's office soon? As soon as we're done. Kurenai said as she watched their team getting the animals into the barn. I'll take them to training ground 8 then and work them into the ground. Anko said with a grin. Kurenai shook her head. I seem to recall them beating you last night. Anko snorted. Got lucky. Happens once in a while. Besides, I want to test Whiskers. Anyone who can impress you deserves my attention. Kurenai shook her head. Don't push him, Anko. He took out Hitaki. Kurenai said lowly. I can't tell you his abilities without his or the Hokage's permission. It's why he didn't partake in the test. Anko looked to see the shadow clones dispersing and the others putting away their tools. Should we worry about him? No. He's loyal to the Hokage and those 2 girls. He'll let us and Shino in when he knows he can trust us. When he can trust us. Anko repeated. I don't blame him. Kurenai said. He was nearly killed by the villagers several times when he was 5 years old. The fact he even came back says something. She handed Anko her tools. Have fun working with them. I'll collect their pay and bring it to the training ground after the meeting. Anko nodded and watched as Kurenai vanished in a leaf shushin. All right, brats. We'll finish putting things away then head to the training ground. Kurenai had to report to the Hokage for a meeting, leaving you all in my hands. She smirked and Naruto shook his head. The Hokage's office was filled with jonin. Kurenai stopped next to Guy and Asuma. Yosh. Your fires of youth burn brightly as always, Kurenai. Hey Guy. She said. Asuma. She said with a nod. Iruka sat to the side as the Hokage's aide. Alright. Settle down. The Hokage called out. He smiled seeing Kurenai standing there. Report. Team 1 failed. Team 2 failed. Team 3 failed and hospitalized. Team 4 failed, and they have decided not to return to the academy. Team 5 failed. Team 6 didn't even try. Team 7. A voice said and they all turned to see a mask-wearing jonin that none of them knew standing there. Consisting of Kabuto Yakushi, Sai and Sasuke Uchiha have passed. And your name? The Hokage asked. I have no name, Hokage Dono. I am 13. The masked jonin said. The old man narrowed his eyes. The council's hand-chosen team for the Uchiha, I would bet they are mostly root members. Continue. He said, lighting his pipe. Team 8. 4-person cell, consisting of Shino Ambarame, Hinata, Ino Yamanaka and Naruto Labo passed my test yesterday, as you are aware, Lord Hokage, and they finished their first mission before I came here to report. Kurenai said, and many of the jonin in the room looked stunned that a team passed a test early. What test did you give them? Asuma asked from next to her. They had to tag me twice. That doesn't sound difficult, 13 said. They had to get past my Ko-jonin instructor and my genjutsus to tag me. Kurenai said, and many eyes widened at this. Anko. Are they alive? Iruka asked. Kurenai gave him a flat look. More than that, Shino and Hinata drove her into position and Ino used her family jutsu to possess Anko and rap me on the head twice. The Hokage nodded, but another jonin spoke up. And what of the Kyuubi brat? Don't know who you're talking about. Kurenai said. I think the incompetent is asking about Naruto-kun. Guy said. Naruto walked through my jutsu and stood right next to me. He and I both know what I can do, and he thought it wouldn't have been a fair test. What's that mean? The same idiot asked. Asuma. Guy and I tested Naruto last weekend. His skills are high. If he would have had joined in, Anko would have been beaten easier. True, but the rest of the team wouldn't have learned to work together. Naruto seems to have a natural skill with teamwork, and he showed that off during the mission this morning, helping the others realize that the D-rank missions are perfect ways to train as well. Lord Hokage. 13 spoke up. I have questions regarding the I mean Naruto. And I won't answer them. You can tell Danzo that I won't allow him to use Naruto. Bad enough the council has given the Uchiha brat another chance like they have in control to you. The masked jonin stepped back. Asuma. Your team. Team 10 consisting of Kiba Inuzuka, Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi and Sakura Haruno passed. He lit his cigarette and sighed. They were unorthodox and will need work, but they managed to get the bells from me in the end. The Hokage nodded. Guy. Team 9 continues to burn brightly, Lord Hokage. He said, giving the old man a thumbs up. Well then. To those who failed their teams, report to administration to be returned to active duty rosters. The Hokage waited while the others left, then look at the 4 jonin that remained. Lord Hokage. 13 spoke. I request to pull my team aside for training until the Chunin exams in 6 months. Denied. Then I will present my request to the council. The Hokage smirked. Sadly, they have no control over ninja assignments. There are a required amount of missions your team will need to partake in before they can partake in a Chunin exam, and the council has no say in that at all. You will do like the other instructors and train your team before or after missions. 13 was stiff as he bowed and shushined away. Donzo's getting bold, Asuma said, looking at his father. Yes. I'll have to keep an eye on his route that he said he disbanded. He looked at the 3 remaining Jonin. Be careful around the Uchiha, and warn your students not to reveal anything around him or his team. The 3 nodded. Well, good luck all 3 of you. They too vanished in Shushin, and the Hokage looked at his desk and the stack of paperwork. Just one fire jutsu, just one. Anko bounced off the ground and flipped to her feet. She wiped her chin and smiled. Oh, you are so good, Gaki. Naruto shrugged. He'd watched as Anko spared with the others first. It was his turn and she'd told him no holding back. I try, Anko-sensei, he said as he ducked under her fists and doing a handstand spun, driving her back with a Kapori-style spinning helicopter kick. He flipped to his feet and lunged with a stiff right which Anko blocked, but he spun the opposite way and tried for a leg sweep, which Anko leapt over. Off to the side, the other 3 were watching in awe. I didn't know Naruto-kun was this skilled. Hinata nodded. He helped us a bit, but this shows he was holding back. Neither are using chakra to enhance their abilities. Shino said from the side. They watched as Naruto changed style and used kung fu, then went to a boxing style. How does he know so many styles? Ino asked. Naruto told us last week during his private test that he knows at least 14 styles of fighting. All 3 teens jumped as Kurenai appeared behind them. Ga. Kurenai-sensei, don't do that. Ino said, clutching her heart. Hinata nodded her head in agreement. Shino adjusted his coat and shades, not responding, pretending he didn't jump in surprise. Kurenai motioned for them to watch and Anko finally got under Naruto's defenses and knocked him down hard. Anko doubled over, panting. Damn, Gaki's good. She wheezed out. That's enough. Kurenai called and Naruto had just done a kick up and was in motion, his foot stopped an inch from Anko's face. Whoa. Anko muttered, seeing the sole of the combat boot so close. Naruto lowered his foot then scratched the back of his neck. Hey, sorry about that. Kurenai called them together. Now, we're going to work on some team building exercises. The first one is trust. Sarutobi sighed as he looked at the stack of papers. In the past week there have been a rash of robberies. He looked at the reports of the Chunin assigned to investigate. No obvious break-in, missing or scrolls, money and some jewelry. Scratching his beard he sighed. Perhaps a Jonin will see something that the 2 Chunin have missed. He thought, inking the order for further investigation. There are times I miss the Uchiha police force, perhaps another clan will take up the position. Shaking his head he went to the next report. I should let the civilian council deal with it. He sighed again as he continued to work his way down the stack of paperwork that seemed to breed on his desk right before his eyes without his secretary ever coming in.